Let me be in on it, but I won't be. I can do that.
There we go.
Well, I may be in touch with you because the more the better. I mean, it's unbelievable. The more the merrier. Hey, seriously, what you do is underrated. What you do is sometimes taken for granted, and what you do is critical.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
This had to have been one of the top, 3 or 4 things that was explained to me when I got here. So I know it was pretty important to our players, and I appreciate that. I think when I took the time to understand it, it made a lot of sense with what Coach Rule had kind of initiated, and our guys really wanted to do it.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Nobody's here to watch, but everyone at home has their hearts in their throats. On 0-2 to right field, Adam Engel is there! A no-hitter! The 19th in White Sox history!
August 25th of 2020, Lucas Giolito no-hits the Pirates.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go today, 3 o'clock on Sikkim 365 Radio. We will hear from what will be, not officially yet, the newest member of the Baylor football team, a young man from UCLA, an offensive lineman who started 23 of the last 24 games with them. Pac-12 shut down. He wants to play football. He entered the transfer portal. I had a chance to visit with him. That's today. We'll have that real here, in fact, about 8 to 10 minutes. And I thought today, Dave Aranda, Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, I thought Dave Aranda, we got some news to share about one of our colleagues that's sad. That I thought Dave Aranda today was probably as comfortable, and we're getting this more and more in the Zoom meetings that we have with the media sessions.
Yeah, he started off, he was already smiling when he came in, so that, that's always good, start off with a smile. I don't think he's going to be a guy who comes in grumpy, as, I've seen some people doing some press conferences before, but, throughout wherever I'm covering things, but he just came in, he was loose and happy, and he thought, the clip I played in the open there was him talking about the single digits, where he thought, he kind of chuckled, and that immediately he was pretty much told, hey, this is what we're going to do with this tradition by the players. So, I thought that was all pretty neat.
Yeah, I don't know that he's so much told we're going to do this, but he was filled in on the importance of it, I guess you could say, and how it obviously means a lot to these players. And it was something that they wanted to continue. And I don't know if you guys picked up on one line that he said, but he said toughest, most hardworking, most competitive team. That's what Matt Rule used to say all the time. And that's what he was saying in reference to the single-digit jerseys. And so that's carried over as well. But I think it's cool. He also revealed that for everybody asking, why they only, unveil half of them. Well, they're going to have their final scrimmage, or their full scrimmage on Saturday. And he said afterwards that they will have another vote for the players to choose who these other single-digit jerseys will be. So it's a neat deal that it's continuing on, as we were mentioning yesterday, and clearly it's something the players love, so why not continue it?
All right, so we'll have Jake Burton on here momentarily, UCLA transfer. His father played at San Diego State. He had a couple of uncles that played college football as well. He was the homecoming king at high school. His dad's a high school coach. And he also played volleyball. Being on the West Coast, that's probably much more prevalent when you come to men's athletics, volleyball, track and field, and also in football. And I had a chance to get him. He was packing up his stuff as much as he could in Los Angeles. I'm sure on the UCLA campus or close. headed down the highway to San Diego. They'll fly out and into Texas tonight.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
was
huge pickup.
Big news when that broke yesterday evening, I guess. He's somebody who started every single game last year at right tackle for UCLA. Now, granted, they weren't the best team in the world. You know, Chip Kelly's had a hard time kind of finding his footing there, and those magical years of the 2000s have seemed to have kind of evaded him up to this point. But you know what? He played every game, like I said, started every game at a position where Baylor could certainly use some help. And he's got good size. He's got tons of experience, obviously, outside of even just last year. So it's a great pickup and somebody who certainly is going to help fill a need and provide some more depth on that offensive line that you're still kind of massaging and trying to get to the point of where you want it to be.
Yeah, they can't turn people away on the offensive line that have that kind of experience. And, you know, I don't know how quickly he'll be able to play. I mean, they've got 2 weeks before the first game, really. So, you know, I guess we'll see, you know, and how much he can get adjusted. But if he can play fairly quickly, if he can get in the first couple weeks, if he's better than what they have, you know, do it.
He told me today as well, because I was going to put up his name that we had him on the show and use his Twitter name. And he said yesterday was the first time in 3 years that he had been on Twitter to announce the fact that he was going to transfer. He was in the transfer portal. He now becomes a part of Baylor. He's on his way. He'll be here tonight. And eventually he has to do paperwork and all of that. He told me it's the first time he's been on Twitter in 3 years, and I So he's a pretty smart guy.
He's incredibly intelligent.
I wish I was that smart.
I don't know why he got back on it, quite frankly, because if it wasn't for this job, I've said this before, but I would probably still have a Twitter account. I used to say I would not even have one, but I probably would because there's just certain like entertainment things I'd want to look at on occasion, but you wouldn't know how to find me on there. Like I wouldn't be over there as Craig Smoke, like la-di-da-di-da-di. So you know what? It's a pain sometimes. It really is. And I think that he was smart for avoiding it all that time.
So Jake Burton and then Dave Aranda on single digits, Dave Aranda on using transfers and how that's changed college football and how they are in position to take them in because of how they have been able to load things up ready for the season and how it works and meshes in with the team. Because it's not, it's talents like Earl Thomas. You can bring him in, but, you better be ready for some of the drama. And some teams are more ready for that than others. But I want to start with this. So yesterday I got a call from a very good friend of mine, Randy Crook. And he told me that he had heard some disturbing news about our friend and colleague and former co-host, and, of course, worked at ESPN Central Texas with us for 9 years. 9 years with you, Paul, for like 15. And that he had been told that Butch was under the weather. Like, not just sick, but he was not doing well at all. And so we ended up, I can't remember exactly when the call was from Randy. And he said, David, I've had like 8 or 10 people tell me this. So I called his home number, and he's got that only Butch Henry way of answering the phone as far as his voicemail.
You've reached the Henrys.
You've reached the Henrys. Leave a message. Yeah. And I did leave a message. I said, Butch or Barbara, will you please, one of you call me? I did not know if I would hear back from either one or who I would hear back from. Barbara called, and that was this morning, and Butch is not doing well at all. It's just something that's been very sudden. She asked that we keep their privacy, respect their privacy, and I said, if you don't want me to say anything, I won't. She goes, no. I want everybody to please pray for Butch. And so I just wanted, it's one of those things that, and Paul, you and I talked about this a little bit. I didn't know what to really say because I only knew Butch for 9 years. I've known him for 10, but he is a Waco. He is like the grandfather, the grand poobah of Waco, Texas.
He's the icon. That's what we call him for a long time.
The Little League coach, the Baylor grad, the love-hate relationship with his Bears, and the way he loved them. Did the score clock, the 24-second clock. He was just an everyday fixture at men's and women's basketball games. He was someone that was so legitimate. And then back in January or February of 2019, the radio station ownership wanted to move on. And then, of course, we understood that ourselves about a year later.
Butch has been a part of my life every day since I started at the radio station in 2005. The first thing I did was answer phones, and he gave me a nickname. That's where pork chop came from.
Yep.
And he was always very encouraging, and he always gave me he always gave me a boost. He was there for me in some of my hardest times. My dad died when the company got bought the first time. All these different things that I've been through with Butch, and I knew one thing that was consistent in my life: Monday through Thursday, not Friday because he didn't work on Fridays. The sweetest deal ever. But Monday through Thursday at about 2:35 p.m., I was going to see Butch, and I was going to be in a better mood.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how Butch was.
I'll never forget when I got here. I'll tell this story real quickly that I had some people ask me, and I was told, hey, you can make the decision on who stays. And I remember him in the old office up in the building downtown, and Butch Henry's Tom Landry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was thoughts that we were going to do something else. And I told him, I said, I'm not the one. I'm not going to be Jerry Jones. And we made it happen. We had a great run for 9 years.
Yeah.
And I know many others have worked longer with him, known him more, but there are so many of you. And so I put something up for everyone to know what's going on. And all I can tell you is don't call the house or try to he's not doing well at all, and just pray for him and pray for Barbara and pray for the Henry family.
Yeah, Butch is a great guy, and he, like Paul said, was always somebody who could raise the spirits in the room whenever he walked in. He just always had a really positive attitude. I'm envious of that. My heart's on my sleeve at all times. If I'm in a bad mood, you're going to know it. If I'm in a good mood, you're going to know it. Sometimes you'll probably question it, but with Butch, he was always in a good mood. I mean, even if he probably wasn't, he was, and I commend him for that because that's just something I've always found difficult to do is put on a happy face. And, man, he was always a happy face. So it's just so unfortunate. He's had a really rough, run, between the last couple of years and just all the changes and getting older, just the time when you start getting older and, maybe you're not as attracted to that job, that boss anymore, and he had to go through that. And then obviously your health is always a concern as well. And so I hate hearing that news. He's a tremendous man. And, just going to say prayers like everybody else and hope somehow or another it works out okay.
So that's the update on Butch. And we wish him the very best, and Barbara as well. Now, back to Jake Burton, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. And then we'll hear from Dave Aranda as well. We'll have Don Hyde and also Shane Anderson. We've had them on a lot. But one of the reasons is La Vega's been looking for games. And then we're doing Connolly football, but we're going to cover high school football in this area like a blanket like we always have. We'll have them at 3:45. And I was able to get something new from Don today about how they've been able to handle and adjust to having basically no time to get ready for Lavaca. And then Connolly opens up with Sunnyvale Friday. We'll have the game on Sikkim 365 Radio and on 106.7 The Eagle FM. So I had a chance to track him down. He was trying to pack up, to get in the car, to drive to San Diego. And here is, who be the newest member soon of Baylor's football program, UCLA transfer offensive lineman Jake Burton.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Jake Burton will be the newest member of the Baylor football team. UCLA started all but one game the last couple of years with the Bruins and makes the commitment to leave UCLA and attend Baylor. Jake, thanks for your time. I know it's a crazy busy day with travel. What went into the decision? It seemed like you entered the portal and boom, you are going to Baylor. Your thoughts about what happened, the opportunity to play this fall, and why Baylor?
I've had a great time at UCLA and everything, but, after, they decided that we're not going to have a fall season, I'm a football player, I love playing football. I wanted to play football, this fall. So, I just decided to kind of throw my hat in the ring. And then when I got in the portal, I heard from Coach, Aranda. And after speaking with him and Coach Wickline, I knew that Baylor was the perfect fit.
They've had some issues with their depth in the offensive line. Obviously, they have people there that are coming back. They've been practicing this whole time. What's the turnaround here? How quickly can you be in Waco? And what did they tell you about fitting in immediately and getting on campus and in practice?
That's what that's one of the reasons why I want to get this done as quickly as possible, so I can get out there and get to work, and whatever Coach Wickline needs me to do, I'll do. I'm just excited to go out and work with my new teammates, and
they contacted you. I'm sure there's a bunch who did. How many approximately schools did hit you up once you hit the transfer portal?
All I say is, it was a crazy day yesterday, but just after speaking with, Coach Aranda and after speaking with Coach Wickline, just I knew, that Baylor was the perfect fit after speaking with those guys.
What did Coach Aranda tell you when he called you?
He said, we have a great, we have a great program here. We have a lot of great guys. We're building something great here, and it'd be awesome. It'd be awesome if you were a part of it, and I couldn't pass that up.
So others probably said the same thing, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. Just kind of hearing from those guys and doing my research, I just thought Baylor was the perfect fit for me.
When you make this decision, and you've spent a lot of time, you're from California, obviously played at UCLA and a 2-year starter, 23 out of 24 starts. I read your bio. Is it kind of a surreal time? And what was it like when you saw the news? And what was your reaction about this season when the Pac-12 decided they weren't going to play football?
It was surreal news. I had a great off season. I was working hard, and I was really excited, for this upcoming season with my fellow Bruin teammates and for UCLA. But when the news happened, you just kind of have to adapt and kind of see where your next options are, and this led me to where I am today.
Was it something that when it happened, you were like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? And then was it more frustrating? I'm just asking because the Big 12, the SEC, and the ACC and others say, hey, we're going to still kind of plow forward. Was that in a way when they decided to do that something that caught your attention as, hey, I might be able to still play this year?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously after the news broke about the Pac-12, I had my eye on the other conferences and kind of wait a little bit and kind of see where they stood, and then once when I realized that they're gonna play this fall, I just kind of thought, this is a chance to play for me for the fall. So this is a great opportunity.
Your father told me that you're packing up, and of course I'm annoying you as pestering you with right now, but you have a lot to do today to travel down to San Diego and then to fly into Texas. Is that going to be a whirlwind? Are you ready for that? And excitement, kind of an adrenaline rush in a way?
Oh yeah, I'm more than excited just to get down there and get to work. Get with Coach Wickline, get with all my new teammates. I'm really excited just to get down there and get to work and help this team any way that I can.
What is, if you don't mind, again, Jake Burton is our guest, UCLA transfer headed to Baylor, the part about making sure that when you get here that you earn your stripes? So everyone knows what you've done, how many games you've started, the talent you have, the size, and all your athleticism. To be able to fit in so quickly, is that something you feel like will be pretty easy for you because of your personality and what you do?
I'm just excited to get down there and get to work. Just get with the coaches. Do the best I can and do whatever I can to help this team win.
What about your father? Right? He's a coach, right? He's in the coaching profession. What advice has he given you during these last few weeks or months as things were kind of unsettled?
Just kind of go with your heart. Whatever you're feeling. If you want to play this fall, you have an option to go in the portal, just to see what's out there and just to. We both kind of agreed that I wanted to play this fall. I'm a football player. I love playing football, and we both kind of agreed that if there is a chance out there, then might as well take it.
What is the timeline for you? As not so much getting here, but do you have 2 years left because of the rule that came out? I know you're focused on just getting right now down to San Diego and then flying to Texas, but is that what if in fact you decide to play everything you can? Is it this year and then possibly next? Is that on the table?
I haven't really thought about that. I haven't looked into it that much. I'm just kind of trying to take it one step at a time. So yeah, just trying to take it one step at a time and take it day by day, and then we'll go from there.
When you came out of high school, committed to UCLA, what were some of the other options you had at that time, Jake?
Some of the other options that I had were Arizona, San Diego State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and a lot of the other Mountain West schools.
You're coming in from California to Texas. You're going to be pretty fortunate, although there is a hurricane coming into the coast right now. But you're going to come in to where you've missed most of the dead of the heat of the summer. It's going to get hot. It's not like it's not hot in California. Are you ready for like the culture change? And how often have you been in Texas or visited Texas?
This will be, I think, my second or third time actually in the state of Texas total. So, like it'll be different, but, I mean, that's, like football's football. So, and like that doesn't, like it's helmet and shoulder pads. So like I'm just excited for that, and then I'm excited for all these other opportunities that Baylor and the state of Texas can give.
Did Coach Wickline mention anything other than just making sure you get down here and get to work? Did he mention anything? You played right tackle quite a bit. Was that brought up at all as far as a specific position?
He was just excited just for me and just to get to work, just to come learn the offense as quickly as I can. And then, and then just I told him, and then we basically discussed that, basically whatever I can to do to help the team win.
What is unique about Jake Burton outside of football? Something that's a hobby, something that's unique about you, something that you've dealt with as a young man, anything that maybe Baylor football fans don't know about you?
Basically, I love to fish, so I heard Texas,
oh yeah,
fishing and stuff, and then I love barbecue food too, so I'm really excited for that as well.
So those are the only things really Dave Aranda and Joe Wickline said, right? There's an opportunity for you to play, there's barbecue, and you love to fish. There are ponds and lakes all throughout the state of Texas.
I mean, yeah, so I heard that's pretty hard to pass up. So, what
are your feelings now that you've made the decision, you're headed to Texas? What is the feeling like for you right now?
Just excitement, just, excited to get down there and meet my new teammates. I'm excited just to get to work and just to, this is a winning program, and I'm excited to, help these guys win this year and any way that I can.
Jake, thanks for your time. Safe travels. Thanks for your time. We'll see you when you get here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's Jake Burton. He's the newest member of the Baylor football program. We'll be officially here very soon. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Bird Culchin Ford's been in Waco since 1936, serving the Central Texas area. And Ford, you know it, it's the number one selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football. They love it. So much so, they're the sponsor of our Ford Tough Player of the Week, which you'll hear every single week on this show. And there's no better way to tailgate high school football, college football, pro football, whatever you're doing, than a tailgate with a Ford from Bird Culchin Ford. Whether that's actually at the stadium, at your house, out in the park, wherever it is, fantastic vehicles to tailgate with. Locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com, 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco for Bird Culchin Ford.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Hope you enjoyed hearing from offensive lineman and UCLA transfer, Jake Burton. Again, I told you his father played at San Diego State. That was one of the schools, along with Fresno State, Colorado State, and a few others that reached out to him. He ended up being at Baylor, started most every game the last couple of years at UCLA. Also, Dave Aranda. And we're about to play maybe 3 to 4, 5 different comments from him, and he was in-depth as ever today. In fact, they released those single digits yesterday, 5 of them. There are 5 left, and Craig, he discussed that today.
Yeah, he did. He's, already announced half of them, as you mentioned, and he got to talking about why they've decided to continue the tradition and what will happen with the rest of those remaining single digits.
And then I did want to ask you briefly just about the single-digit numbers and just that tradition carrying on this year and just, how neat that experience was for those guys to get those numbers.
Yeah, I think when I got here, this had to have been one of the top, 3 or 4 things that was explained to me when I got here. So I know it was pretty important to our players, and I appreciate that. I think when I took the time to understand it, it made a lot of sense with what Coach Rule had kind of initiated, and our guys really wanted to do it, and it seemed like it was something that was earned and something that was done the right way, and so I'm excited to continue it. And our guys, when we brought them in, and you could see a couple of them had wanted to be single digits, and now they are. And a couple of them have been single digits for a while. Either way, the excitement was pretty cool to see. So it was a good day.
Dave, about the single digits again, you released, I think, half of them, 0 to 9, there's half of them. Is that going to be, and I think they were all seniors, is that something you've already picked all of them, or is that going to be a methodical process, you leave a couple of open?
Yeah, so we will have, after this next scrimmage on Saturday, which is the main, kind of the bigger one, the one we had this past Saturday was half practice, half scrimmage. This next one will be a full scrimmage from start to finish. We'll vote again, and the players will vote with, minus the guys that already have gotten the number, and we'll kind of see where that lands, and then fill out the remaining numbers.
So that's Dave Aranda on the single digits. That'll be interesting to see, and they're going to have this pretty much full throttle scrimmage, and then they'll vote again for those who are added to 0 through 9 that have not yet been taken. Now, the safety position, and I keep forgetting about Walcott. Craig, is he the transfer? Walcott? Walcott?
He's a signee from junior college.
Yeah, junior college, a transfer. And I keep forgetting about him when I was on the Big 12 radio network earlier this week, and others. I keep on thinking J.T. Woods among the names we hear who are going to be part of that safety position. And Dave Aranda went very in-depth with the safety position.
Hey, Coach. At the safety position, obviously you have Christian Morgan and J.T. Woods returning. They've played a lot of football, but I'm curious what the depth looks like behind them and how you think they're coming along. You have a lot of young guys, I feel like, at key spots behind them. How are they developing?
Good. Yeah, Al Walcott is a guy that comes to mind. I mean, they're all new, like you mentioned. Devin Neal is a guy that comes to mind. Devin has been showing up more and more. Yesterday was probably one of his strongest practices, and it's a good thing because he's been progressing. Mike Harris would be another. I think we're trying to get as many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches into Mike as we can, and the learning piece with him, the physicality with him, all that stuff comes real natural. You're talking about Devin. There's the way that Devin can move and he can change direction, keep a center of gravity. It's a special piece to him. He can make an open field tackle and drive people back, and they'll sink his hips and get underneath you and get a body stick, chest and hips up underneath on the ball carrier and drive them back. And those are things that really you don't ever see. He's done that pretty consistently. And then I think there's a great intelligence with him as well in order to get people here and there. Al brings some length. He's playing some of the star, so they're moving him around quite a bit. I think he's handling it. Zeke would be the next guy. And so Zeke's been here for a long time. Zeke's got a great intelligence and work ethic about him. Doesn't say much, but leads by example. Is a guy that you can count on being where he needs to be. This last scrimmage he had was a productive scrimmage. Excited to see what comes for this next one. I feel good about the group. It's a young group, particularly, but it's talented. The upside's very, very big.
Is Will Williams still playing the safety position?
And he is too, yeah. Will's another one. Will's, I think, whereas say like Zeke, for example, or Devin's really catching on, I think Will has shown really good range and really good athletic skill. We're working on Will just getting down kind of the ins and outs of the defense and these adjustments and these checks. And, anytime that it's fall, I don't know, there's much more defense in than per any game, typically any game, right? The game's going to be more, hey, we got this for this, we got that for that. It's more of a streamlined in and out. This is about the time of camp to where, and both offensively and defensively, I think this is usually the case that you're bleeding into other things, and there is there's quite a stain of offense or defense that's apparent, and I think kind of dealing through that, you kind of get a feel of the guys that it comes easy to, and the guys you got to really work hard to get. And I think Will's working through that. A lot of ability though, great character, and great kid. I like the depth at that position.
All right, so we've the single digits. That's something that's current. The safety position, which is of when you lose Miller and Graylin Arnold and the people you lose, that's of concern. And then there's the transfer portal. That's absolutely timely because of Jake Burton transferring in from UCLA. And everybody on the Zoom meeting did a good job of kind of asking about the transfer and how it works and all that, the philosophy and how they blend in together. And he was asked about the transfer, and he can't talk about Jake Burton yet, but eventually he will. Is that what I'm at?
There's two different transfer ones.
Well, the first one is, what has the transfer portal meant to college football, and how has it changed the game? Dave, how much has the transfer portal changed the landscape of college football?
I think my first response to that would be just the culture of a team, and I think the stronger team that you're on, the more that people are seen and heard and valued. I think the more connection there is, the less chance you have of them moving on. I imagine that's always going to happen. There's always going to be instances where there's not a fit, or this happened or that happened. I think that's part of it. But I think the transfer portal does widen that circumstance to where if there's not a culture fit, if there's not someone their needs are being addressed, or they're being treated the right way, I think there is that ability now for them to go. And then I think on the other end of it, it's for coming in new, in our case, and just meshing new systems with old systems, working personnel in different spots, trying to, hey, instead of doing this, which we've always done, our personnel is this way, so now we're going to do that. And, a lot of those moves, I think, when you can get quality people with good hearts and people that are mature and believe in the team aspect, I think you can make your team better that way. I think, I'm very much a believer in the 4-year player, in the high school player that's developed, that has a team mindset and everything. And, I've talked to the staff a lot about that here. And, I went to a junior college. I've recruited junior college before, and it's just, the junior college I was in, I remember that was the first ever team I was on where no one wanted to be on that team, And so I think and that's not true of every junior college, but I think there is a case of like, hey, I'm here on this thing because I want to go there, and I'm gonna do me to get that done. And so I think the more that you can, in this concept, right, stress team and talk about team, because the team is going to win. In this particular year, particularly, it's the best team that's going to win, not the team with the best players or the best coaches. It's the best team, people that are doing the right things on and off the field, the team that can, if you're down a certain number of tight ends, you can do it with receivers. If you're down a certain number of running backs, you can do it with tight ends, right? You can do it with nickels, or you can do it with linebackers, the interchangeability piece as well. And so I think, in this particular instance, finding guys that are into team and want to be a part of a team, I think makes it unique.
And there's Dave Aranda on the transfer portal and how it's affected. Now they also have to get people ready. And this was kind of talked around because of kind of an arcane NCAA rule. He can't directly talk about Jacob Burton yet, just even though everybody knows he's going to be there. So
we have
this is how they get him ready.
The majority of our installs since we've been here. And so going back to winter conditioning all the way through quarantine, through summer, and then through fall camp, we've had installs filmed, and we've been fortunate enough now to have some practices where we could put, green and gold colored jerseys to back up those installs, where it's not, UNC or LSU or Louisiana Lafayette and that. And so I think we have some good teach tapes to have, so the ability is there that if there was a guy to come in that had some catching up to do, that he could have film of installs, and he could spend a day watching install 1 to install 10 and be taking notes and all of it that entails. There's an app that we use for guys' phones for our players now, where we send them tips and reminders. We send them quizzes, and they all work it through their phones. It used to be back when I was playing, or when I first started coaching, that was a piece of paper that was stapled together, and now everything's on your phones. And so I think there are tools that are there. Once, if we were to get someone and he's in school and he's ready to go and all of it, that we could hit it from all sides. And so I appreciate that question. And I think anytime that you can spend the time thinking about what's the best way to teach, what are the best tools you can use, how to best reach your student athletes, I think you can develop some unique ways to reach people. And I think we have those.
Dave Aranda, single digits, safety position, transfer portal, and also how a transfer will mesh into the system. It seems like they're very ready. And I'm sure Jake Burton, I don't know how this works until he's official. He could have everything right there in front of him as he's on an airplane.
Yeah,
I'm not
absolutely
sure how that works, but it was very fast, Craig. I mean, that was lightning speed. He enters the portal, Baylor.
Yeah, I guess they just had a really good sales pitch for him, and something must have clicked. I mean, pretty quickly for him to make a decision within a matter of hours that some other guys would maybe have taken a little bit longer with. But then again, when you're just deciding, 2 weeks before the season that you're going to transfer, you kind of have to make the decision pretty quickly on where you're going to land. He couldn't really have drugged this out for a week, because then you're walking into a situation where you have a week basically to get ready for a game. So that wouldn't have worked. So, I don't know how far along he'll be able to get in a short amount of time with what they're doing, but it also sounds like they're pretty confident that with their language and just what he'll be able to study and things like that it won't be too much of an issue. I mean, there's a reason why they decided with 2 weeks to go to bring him on board. So they must see something they like, and I'm sure they like that starting experience he had at UCLA and all the games he's played in. So we'll see how it works, but it, on paper, appears to be a really good pickup.
Yeah, there's no question at all. Not at all, that they are ready for this. And if there would have been one transfer to any position, this is the one you wanted, right? This is where
absolutely.
You'd want someone to move in and hopefully be able to make a difference pretty quickly. Just in time. Not sure what the La Tech timeline will be. There's a great question on Sikkim 365 on the message board, and I'll get an answer from this, is how long does it take before he integrates with the team? Will he have to go through any kind of isolation or whatever? Any kind of, what is the word I'm looking at?
Great question.
Quarantine.
And I don't know that. I don't know that, but I'm sure that we'll let Baylor discuss all that and get it done, and they're flying into Texas tonight. All right? Coming up next, high school football, every segment, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 3:45, and eventually Friday as well. We're going to have a couple of high school programs that we spotlight pretty regularly, along with many others throughout the week and throughout the year. and throughout the season. Right now, we're still waiting for 5A and 6A to kick in, but we'll have updates with Rodney Smith and Kwame Cavill, Jeff Hume, Scott Stewart, among many others. But coming up, Connolly opens up Friday against Sunnyvale. You can hear the game on Sikkim 365 Radio and 106.7 The Eagle FM. And, well, La Vega's had themselves quite a week as they get ready for Port Lavaca Calhoun that they found out they'd be playing late Sunday night. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. How does he do that? You have to call him. You have to have something that you just feel like not right. Maybe it's energy, could be sex drive, could be just all of the above. And a lot of that still has to do with what you do, your lifestyle as well, when it comes to sleep and diet and exercise. But even then, sometimes things just aren't what they need to be or used to be. And so contact PettyClinicLowT.com. That's one way. Call them. That's another way. And tell them that you'd like to, well, Smokey sent you. And you want to know what Dr. Kent Petty can do for you. He will then set you up to get your blood work and lab work. He'll look at the results. And if your testosterone levels are too low, he will put you in a program to increase your testosterone levels so you can become the high-performance man that you want to be. That's what he can do for you. And there are millions of people around the country that sometimes, it used to be a point where, man, you don't talk about that. Yes, you do. If there's a problem, he can try to help make sure that it becomes something that's your strength, not weakness. It gets your blood work. He'll look at the results, put you in a program to help you become the man you want to be, the high-performance man you want to be. PettyClinicLowT.com.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Hi, this is Conley football coach Shane Anderson. I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new Sikkim 365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Connolly Cadets football coach Shane Anderson is sponsored by Masonic Construction, Sturdy Steel, American Bank, Graham Properties, Richard Carr Motors, Parsons Roofing, First Central Credit Union, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Here we go. We, at times throughout the last several months, didn't know if we'd get here, and here we are.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. Just super thankful for the opportunity to get back on the grass and, super happy for these kids to have the opportunity. About a month and a half ago, we were all sitting here when McLennan County shut down wondering if this was really going to happen. And once we got to go, man, the kids they've bought in and they understand that it's a day-to-day deal and they understand that anything can be taken away from us at any point in time. And they've really bought into that and they've done a great job and we're excited to see them on Friday night.
Do you feel like you had enough time once you got back into the routine and then with what you were able to do with what would normally fall workouts, the scrimmage against Lorena, do you know who you are?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the good thing is we have a lot of kids that have played a lot of football and won a lot of football games, so they know what it takes and they know what's expected of them. The not having two scrimmages is a little bit different, especially from an insertion standpoint. Inserting our plays that offensively and then fronts and stunts defensively. So we feel like we're maybe a little bit behind there, but everybody's in the same boat, so we're just gonna hit the ground running.
You know about Sunnyvale, what John Settle's done. They've been very successful. They've had a great run the last several years, but you don't know much about them because they didn't scrimmage. They had a late start, but they've been successful. Any doubt that they're going to bring one hell of a football team to Waco?
No, there's no doubt at all. John Settle's a heck of a ball coach. He's won and done a great job everywhere he's been, and they were able to. His coaching staff was able to come watch us scrimmage against Lorena, and he and I talked, before the scrimmage, and they're a little bit behind the eight ball. They didn't get to start until the 17th, and they've only had a couple days in pads, and then they started school today. So, the deal for them is they're a little bit behind the eight ball as well. But he'll have them ready to play. They've also got a lot of kids that have won a lot of football games and know what to expect. And I think experience just takes over once you get to Friday night.
You're not starting off with some like fluff. You got Sunnyvale, then you don't want to look too far ahead. Then you have La Vega, then Springtown, who lost their season, ended against La Vega.
Well, it's going to be tough, and we told our kids all along, the great thing about it is we'll know where we're at as a football team going into our district schedule, and at the end of the day, these first four are not going to dictate our season. They're not going to make or break us. They have nothing to do with our team goals, and, all they are is a great opportunity to see where we stack up against some of the best teams in the state of Texas. And like you said, those first three are all top 10 teams, and then Palestine's a 3-round team from last year, and Coach Angels got back there, like you said, and done a great job. So we're going to have to be ready to go, and each and every week it's going to be a big-time, knockdown, drag-out type football game.
Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Have you downloaded the Sikkim 365 radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
This segment with La Vega Pirates football coach Don Hyde is sponsored by American Bank, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Issue. How has your team and the coaching staff been able to respond to get ready for Lavaca in such a short amount of time?
Well, I mean, we treated Monday afternoon like it was a Saturday, and kind of sped the process up through Sunday, and went and found some film that we traded their inter squad scrimmage for our inter squad scrimmage, and just went about like we do every week, just in the speed up process, and so we're basically working a day short of practice wise, and we spent Monday working on just skills and stuff like that with the kids, and what you got to do to be successful in the field. And so now we've had the last 2 days to work on scheme, and we'll work a little bit on it again tomorrow, where we normally don't work on it at all. We work on just kicking game, but we'll spend a little bit of time tomorrow working on the scheme part of it, and then we'll be ready to go on Friday.
How much does technology help also with the players and having things at their fingertips now more than ever?
Oh, that's huge. 26 years ago when I got in this, you'd have to send somebody on the road.
If you're in the market for a new home, or you're trying to sell a home, upsizing, downsizing, empty nest, whatever you got, you need a realtor in your corner who's going to listen to you, who's going to hear what you need, who's going to help you find your dream home, because he sees things that you don't see, or he'll pick things out because he's a great listener. Well, that's my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty. Let them be your go-to source as you search for that perfect home. Call Lance at 254-214-3713 or visit his webpage for the most current listings, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, with locations in Waco and Bryan, and at pioneersboys.com.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa, with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
3rd down and 5. Sanders in trouble. Ball is loose. It's picked up by the Bears. It's Terrell Bernard. It's touchdown.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Well, there's a lot of news involving Baylor. I had a friend that listens to the show, Chris, quite a bit, who's really been on this COVID and the results phenomenally, even well ahead of schedule on things that were legitimate and things that might have been at times a little bit blurry. He sent me last night, and I sent this to both of you guys, Baylor University has a dashboard. It's baylor.edu, but there's a dashboard, and it also instituted random testing of policy, and they probably had just under 100 students the first couple of days that tested positive.
Yeah, and that's where it's going to be. I mean, most schools are going to get these jumps.
I gave you the exact number. I think it's like 89. Nikki Lattarulo had posted that earlier today. So, yeah, like close to 100 kids in the first couple of days. I mean, it's only Wednesday. School started on Monday. So, I mean, I'll go back to this again. How many – I mean, I'm assuming a lot of those have to be asymptomatic. Otherwise, why are you on campus and why are you coming back to school if you're not feeling all that well? I guess maybe some could be feeling symptomatic and they're like, hey, it's just a cold. I got to power through it and I got to move into Baylor. I don't know, but – that's 89 or so people who maybe didn't know that they had it, who now know that they have it. So you think of 89 and the people they come across in their daily lives and how many other people could have been affected potentially by it. I think the testing is a positive. The more the testing, the better, in my opinion. So it's good to know kind of where you stand and where you are as far as the lay of the land goes and how you compare to other schools and what they're facing. But, you know, I didn't have a number in mind for what it would look like, but, you know, close to 100 is not all that surprising.
We'll have Jeff Barlow, who is the assistant athletic director for equipment and all of what we've heard Mack Rhodes mention this. We've heard a lot of people mention this and how like a staff of 4 is taking on 700 plus, 500 plus student athletes and 250 or so staff at Baylor. And Jeff Barlow is going to join us at around 4:10 in the next in this segment a little bit later on. But there is something developing when it comes to the National Basketball Association. You know that they've had a lot of the social justice, Black Lives Matter. That's been one of their big pushes with a lot of things within the bubble. And then today, because of the shooting in Wisconsin, the Raptors and am I right? No, who was it, Craig? Milwaukee Bucks.
Magic and the Bucks.
Magic and the Bucks were going to play today, and the Bucks, what'd they do, not show up or walk off the court?
Well, here's the deal. They're protesting the shooting of Jacob Blake, shot by police, and was in front of his children. And I know that there's, going to be somebody quick to say, well, this or that or whatever, but that's the basic gist of the situation. And so, in the time that we're living in right now where there's more of a microscope on what police are doing and how they're doing it and whether or not they should be doing it, there's more of that than ever before. And so, there's anytime an incident happens, there's going to be a massive spotlight shown on it. And so this was the most recent incident, and it's had a massive spotlight shown on it. And there had been some rumblings the last couple of days about the potential of NBA players deciding to boycott the playoff games. And as it stands today, some teams finally, after a couple of days of talking about it, finally decided to do it. And now I think we're going to probably have no games tonight. The Bucks and the Magic were supposed to be playing right now. They didn't take the court. That was kind of expected from, again, the rumors that were going around. So they're not going to play. The Thunder and the Rockets were scheduled to play tonight. Game 5, that series is tied at 2. They will not play now. So I guess they're following the lead of the Magic and the Bucks, and you needed somebody to get the ball rolling there. And then LeBron James came out on Twitter and had a very, angry message just as far as, okay, F this man. He didn't say F, by the way. We demand change. Sick of it. That's what he put out 30 minutes ago. And so now apparently the Lakers are having a team meeting. Pretty clear they're not going to play tonight either. So all the games are going to be boycotted.
Well, and now
postponed, whatever.
Once it gets started, you can't do anything about it. I mean, like you can't be the teams that are like, well, we're going to play.
Right.
Like it's like the teams who started this kind of painted everybody into a corner regardless of how they feel about it or not. And so,
wow, it's almost like that's happening a lot lately.
So, and
there's 3 games that were scheduled today.
I'm all for people standing up for what's right, but I don't know what this is going to do.
Yeah,
get
I
attention.
Guess, I mean, it's definitely going to get attention because it's getting attention already. I just, my whole thing with protests and trying to get a message across and things like that. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out like what this ultimately leads to, what this ultimately transitions into. And I guess I'm just having a hard time kind of wrapping my head around how much this really does change anything. Granted, it's a sign of solidarity. It's, players taking a stand, if you will. It's all those things for sure. And it's going to get a lot of attention. But, I mean, if they don't play any more basketball games, I don't think the country's going to cry about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that that's going to suddenly make people who are down to their bones racist not racist anymore. And so, like, the thing I'm just struggling with is, like, what can be done that does move the ball forward, so to speak, and does make a positive impact and does, keep it at the forefront, but also, again, continue to move it in a positive direction. I don't know what that answer is, and I don't think it's sitting at a basketball game, but I also don't know what other options these players have if they feel like they need to do something. I mean, what else can LeBron James really do other than not playing a basketball game? So it's kind of their only option in some ways. But, again, I understand the message. I just don't know if there's other ways, and I wish there was other ways. But, hey, they're not going to play a basketball game. I mean, so what, right? I mean, they're going to sit out, and then I don't know what the NBA is going to do as far as if this is a postponement, if this is an outright cancellation. If one team, like, for example, the Bucks were the team that got this ball rolling, do they forfeit that game against the Magic now? So is that suddenly...
that won't happen.
So like that was what I was saying. So, like, either you're going to have to forfeit these games, or you're just not going to play the games and the season's over, or you're going to have to play these games at some point.
Yeah, but there's no way the Bucks will be forced to forfeit.
No.
I understand that they're the ones that walked out, but this will be eventually a group deal. The NBA will have the spotlight on the players again, and they'll come out whenever they do, if they do again. And we'll probably have, I don't know, more things that they have on their jerseys. In the end, like you said, it's a horrible situation. We don't know the entire story, but the story that we do know seems to be atrocious. And yet, not playing basketball, wouldn't playing and talking about it actually give you more attention to the cause you want?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I mean, you're sitting there seeing these players, the messages on their jerseys and the message on the court, and I mean, they've done all those types of things, and I don't know how impactful those were. I'm also probably not, the target audience as far as, like, I don't know.
Well, let's say you had this Luka performance that, like, everybody seen, not everybody, but it seemed like wow. put a lot of focus. The Lakers are playing at this high level. I know that that's irrelevant in the comes to what a lot of the players and others believe is a bad situation. We all discussed this many times, but you had maybe some people that you brought back to watching, and now this might just push them back out again.
Well, I don't think that's their concern, right?
I know.
So, they don't care about that. They
it
probably
will be if
feel,
it affects the bottom line. It will be because
ultimately, if it does, but that's if it does. That remains to be seen. I know what you're saying, though. And, yeah, you would think that being out there and having the messages on the jerseys and the message on the court and the different opportunities there, you would think that it's shown more of a spotlight on the message they, are choosing to get across each individually or as a group. I'm not sure how much of that's taken place or not. I'm not sure how much of an impact or not it has had, but I know them not playing is certainly not going to have, some gigantic impact either because your voice is suddenly lost. So, yeah, I don't know. But they've definitely got people's attention, and that was the point. And so they've shined a spotlight where they wanted to. And then
we're talking about it.
Yeah, we'll see what the move is from there.
And then we know that a lot of others will also be talking about it as well. Let me see here. Standing by on the Richard Carr, Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Baylor Bear Hotline. Let me tell you something. We can discuss Dave Aranda, the new offensive line transfer. I know that Jeff can't bring him up either, but we can discuss all of everything Baylor. But right now, we're starting during these last few months to be able to not uncover, but highlight some of the most valuable, in some cases, I think, irreplaceable positions and people within the Baylor Athletic Department. Jeff Barlow, the Assistant Athletic Director with equipment, and I know there's more to that title. He joins us on Sick on 365 Radio. When you were asked to be a part of the show, did you have any reason why? You were like, why me?
No, I don't think so. I kind of was aware of all the extra stuff that's kind of going around right now. With all the extra duties to do. So I think it's a good story. So
well, it is.
I was more than happy to join.
Well, and we appreciate it, Jeff. And again, thank you very much for being a part of the show on Sikkim 365 Radio. You have yourself and 3 full-time staff members. Unless I'm wrong, there are nearly 750 student-athletes and staff. How are you doing that?
I think it's just a collective effort. You kind of, we're in a profession of, when you fail to prepare, you're going to fail. So it's just one of those deals where our job is preparation. So we have to plan. And regardless of what that plan is, sometimes it's in a normal year, I think it's always a task. It can be chaotic sometimes, but I think 2020 in a nutshell is you got to ride the wave. So we got to be ready for anything and plan for the unexpected.
With everything that you've had to deal with, you can't have guys, you have to have people in different locker rooms, and you have a way of doing things that's worked for you guys for a long time, that you have processes and ways that you go through putting jerseys and getting stuff in lockers. What's been the biggest and most challenging change to make sure you get everything all over the place when you now have to spread people out?
Oh, the biggest challenge is just, I think just getting a game plan every day, determined based on what the plan is that day. We could have a lift group, which is a different setup than our practice day setup, because we do our lift group stuff here at Simpson. So in practice it's different because we're using 2 different locker rooms. So it's just making sure everything is where it needs to be. And each week that changes because each week we swap locker rooms to kind of keep it fair for the guys, and everybody's in each locker room, and nobody's kind of cast out to a certain area, so to speak. So everybody's kind of got a fair shake, and so it's just kind of planning it out. As I said before, it's making sure it's unconventional to say the least for us, but it's nobody really asks us if it really matters or not. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't. It's just our job to make it happen, and making sure everybody's happy and content and has what they need when they need it.
Jeff, Mack Rhodes told us yesterday that there's several employees on campus who are working a lot more than they typically would be because of just all the precautions that need to be taken and all of the things that now have to be taken into account. How many extra hours or how much extra time is on your plate now as a result of that, if any?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo more of my staff than anything. They're pulling, anywhere from, there's nights that they go home at 11 o'clock at night, start at 6 a.m. in the morning. And on consecutive days, some days, in addition to everything else going on. So they're doing that when normally, it's probably more of a 12 to 13 hour day. So it's, 15, 16 hour days, almost every day, more or less. So it's just, it can be taxing. I really, appreciate what Max said about, just as a, health and wellness and us and our team. And it really shows that what a true leader that we have, that he cares about his staff as much as he does. So I know he's got his eye on that and trying to make sure that we're all have the capacity to do what we do. And I think for now we're doing good. So we're just, it's important to, when we are checked out, that we do check out. I think that's important.
So things like helmet, shoulder pads, the equipment that normally a player would have in his locker. Now, what do you do with that after practice, and when do players get that back and how?
So at the end of practice, they will so we're at the indoor facility. You've been there several times at the Allison Indoor. So at the end, they'll turn in their jersey and their cleats and their helmets back to us. As that's exactly where they pick it up as well before practice. So after that, we'll roll it back in. We'll check them all in to make sure we got them all back on the list each day. The laminated piece of paper that we can erase and use for the next day. We make sure everything's there, and then we'll wash a lot of the ins and outs, kind of the parts and pieces that can be washed, to make sure those are disinfected and good for the next day. And then the next day, it's, the show must go on. So it's when the lights come on, or get it right back out for practice the next day.
Who is doing the laundry?
So we have student managers, up to 15, maybe a few more here soon, but hands are hard to come by right now. So we're trying to add a few hands, but we have 2 or 3 student managers that are dedicated to that. So basically they'll come in the evening, spend 4.5 hours at night. There's usually 2 of them that tandem together, pair up each night to kind of get all the laundry done, coaches, staff, that's 60 people right there. Then on top of players, another 115 or so.
Jeff Barlow is the assistant AD for equipment services at Baylor. He's with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Paul?
Jeff, I'm going to try to get you an endorsement deal right here. As someone who has to watch stinky laundry a lot, what's the best detergent for us to use?
The best detergent? Well, I don't know if I can get an endorsement deal there, because we kind of use commercial type laundry chemicals. So there's some different vendors out there, and it's not they're not your name brand. They're not your Procter and Gamble type people. So I'm probably disappointing you with my answer, and I apologize for that.
I was going to take 10% of that, and so now you ruined it. we were going to go big time, Jeff.
I'd love to say Tide, but I'd be lying if I told you it was Tide. So,
Jeff, when it comes to the Dave Aranda coaching staff, I mean, what have been your impressions and just thoughts? I mean, there's been a lot of change over the last few years, obviously, but some new guys in town. They've been around for a while now. What have been your thoughts on just, some more change in the new Aranda era?
Honestly, it's been a great transition. It's a great group of people, easy to work with. I don't know, just downright good people, down to earth. On the field, they're coaches. Coaches get fiery on the field, and we all know that, and they can be, trying to get a player going, from not doing their job, and that can transition over to maybe a student not doing theirs, or manager or something like that. So it's all in the heat of the moment. Sometimes it's nothing a coach doesn't always do. So it's off the field they're great, on the field they're great, and we're really happy to have them. It kind of hurt us a little bit when COVID hit, the shutdown, because we didn't have a chance to have spring practice with them, and that kind of set us back a little bit, my team, because that spring practice is so pivotal in kind of learning how a practice is going to run. Every coach runs it differently. So August was a little bit, you're always on the edge a little bit the first time you do something with a new staff. But overall, I think it's been well received, and we're very happy to have them here.
The uniforms were brand new last year. It took people a little while to get used to them, but by the end of the season, and winning certainly helps, people, love the new uniforms and the combinations. Have you been able to pick Aranda's brain at all on kind of his philosophy on uniforms and mixing it up? Is he more of a traditional guy? Have you had any kind of conversation like that at all?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a pretty quiet guy, but when he speaks his mind, he speaks his mind. I think he's going to mix it up a little bit. I don't think we'll go as monotonous or monotone, I guess is maybe the word. Kind of. I know we did all green a lot last year. Hopefully, we'll get to be able to mix up some home combos. I know on the road we did quite a bit of mixing and matching. So no, I mean I think it'll be I think a group effort, kind of week to week, deciding what we want to do. But I'm really so impressed with how everything came together last year with the brand and the colors, and I'm really glad that overall I think the fans really bought in at the end of the day. Once I think kind of the newness wore off and the change wore off.
You may have had at least some that shared what Mac Rhodes said about you guys on the show. I guess it was Tuesday. Here's a couple of more from at the very highest parts of athletic administration. Please feel free to use this. Jeff and his team are tremendous partners. I so appreciate the way they do the work they do to see that our teams are well equipped. Jeff not only ensures that our student athletes look good and feel good, but they also all while maintaining the integrity of our brand identity. Jeff is like my brand police partner. This crew puts in long hours, does so without praise. Grateful for the work they do. That was from Jovan.
She's awesome. I love Jovan.
And we had her on about 2 weeks ago, and there's another, like one of the hidden gems that, although a lot of people within the department know, at Baylor University Athletics. Also, from Jeremiah, tremendous work ethic. They have 4 team members supplying 19 sports, probably around, 500 or so student athletes, 230 staff members. We ask a lot of them. They receive little appreciation.
It's a thankless job. We know that going in. It's we're kind of seen as like when something's wrong. That's when kind of like the umpire. He's kind of behind the plate. He's messing up. You're going to notice him a lot more. So we try to be the guy that's not missing the ball strike calls. We want to be on our game. So if we're not noticed very much, that means we did our job. In my mind, I've been doing this long enough. So I'm very grateful to be able to work with these people at Baylor, Jeremiah, Javon, Mac, and so many more. That's just a great, great place. And
Jeff, do you understand the Twitter power that you have on like, was it Thursday nights when you're about to send out the uniform? There are many people waiting with bated breath to see what you guys are going to wear each week.
Yeah, they I don't think I have as much power as I used to. I think that was more. I think we kind of transitioned over to, the football, because I think I kind of got on the Twitter game maybe a little bit before the team side kind of kicked on, to where the sports kind of wanted to be able to put this out, because they have more followers than I do. So let's be honest, it's more. It makes a lot more sense for them to put it out than me. So I'm very, very grateful that people are very involved and want to know what we're wearing and excited about what we're going to wear. Of course, a few years ago we had a lot more options than we do now. I'm not saying we still have quite a bit now, but it was quite a lot a few years ago.
No, there's no question about it. Now, I think this is a fair question because of what you're dealing with, because of this COVID. Did you have anybody that when you had to take over so many, you've always had to take on 500 plus athletes and then of course staff members, was there any concern from anybody that perhaps they did not want to be, or as you hear athletes are doing, opt out?
Like as far as like people that work with me?
Yes.
Not at all. I'll be personally. I mean, I can't speak to. I'm here. I live with a high risk individual. So I risk every day coming up here and making sure I'm doing my part. So I know, I'm very careful and things that I do and go about my business because I don't want to take it home with me for lots of reasons. So it's personal for me. So just sharing that. But yeah, nobody, everybody knows we got guys. Our guys are winners. They want to be involved. They want to make sure that things are done when they need to be done. They want to be part of the team and being a part of helping them win, which we truly feel that we are. And health and wellness and all our video and all the team members that we have all play a part, and we're just happy to play that part regardless of the situation.
Jeff, thank you, man. Great job. So many people, when I mention we're going to have you on, there are people that I don't even know that hey, this is fantastic. Jeff Barlow, Assistant AD for Equipment Services, obviously somebody, you and your staff. Do you want to mention your staff? Could you put their names out there? Yeah. Is that okay?
Absolutely, yeah. Harrison Hanna, he's kind of my director for football. He kind of handles, because I used to do the day-to-day football up until 17 or so, and then I kind of went over, and I'm kind of the umbrella now. I'm over everything, managing kind of all the budgets and orders for and so next month we're starting to order stuff for next year already, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harrison Hanna. So he's my right hand for football. Takes care of everything. That does a great job. Lots of energy, great work ethic. David Draper, he's an assistant. Came in from Memphis. Back, I got him just in the nick of time before COVID hit. He got hired about 2 days before the shutdown. So I'm grateful we could time that just right. He's doing a great work ethic, young guy, getting the job done. So just doing good there. And then Will Glasscock, he's my partner in crime on the Olympic sports side of things, for lack of a better term, handling all the other sports other than football. Me and him handle all those and making sure they get what they need when they need it, and making sure they're also staying on brand, because that's part of our job as well.
Congratulations, man. I'm well-deserved attention. I know that's not what you wanted. You're not raise your hand, look at me guy, but you guys earned this spotlight, and so many others, a part of administration and athletes and others, say, hey, you guys do an incredible job. Jeff Barlow, thanks for your time today.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me on, folks.
All right, that's Jeff Barlow, Assistant AD for Equipment Services, Baylor University. Four. Now, you mentioned that there's a staff of about 15 that also help with the laundry, which is, I can't even imagine, socks, jocks.
That's the part I could
everywhere.
I mean, I could, but I would have to be forced into doing it. I would not want to be cleaning the football team's soaked, sweaty, dirty, uniforms. But hey, somebody's got to do it, and those guys do a great job doing it, and making sure those guys have clean jerseys every time they go to their locker. So they are definitely the unsung heroes. I will pass along an NBA note, because we were kind of wondering about, with this, I guess you could call it a protest of the games today, the players deciding to not play in the 3 games today. According to Allie LaForce, and I'm sure this has been echoed elsewhere, all NBA postseason games are officially postponed. So not forfeited. So, that's kind of what I was saying earlier, and I saw somebody tweet at you and said, hey, we probably wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't for them boycotting. So they did bring more attention to it, and that's absolutely right. But, if they're back out there tomorrow night playing, how much did it really change? And so that's what I will find to be interesting to see.
The other thing is that what is the end goal? I mean, I know they probably want the cops to be prosecuted,
right? Yeah.
Who did it? So
people are still waiting on Breonna Taylor's.
If those cops get prosecuted tomorrow, if they bring charges to them tomorrow, is that their end game? Is that what they want? And then they'll start playing again, or they're not going to play until all that happens, and then. Well, you do that. I mean, then you're opening a can of worms, because
they may not even have thought that far ahead, though.
There are multiple cases across the country that probably echo these similar things. Some that need to be prosecuted, some that may not, but people have to investigate things.
From 11 water fields, on Twitter. The point of the protest against injustice is to disrupt the status quo and to force those not affected by the injustice to take notice. NBA players are using their status and power to disrupt a billion-dollar industry. If it was easy or convenient, people would ignore it. Now, one of the responses to John immediately was somebody else that said people will basically ignore it. The other part of what he said is that, as you intimated, you probably wouldn't be talking about the shooting if the athletes weren't doing anything. As always, appreciate y'all's work. Thanks for your time. Yep. All right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I doubt on a sports radio show we're going to be bringing up that kind of a story if it's not somehow sports related. So these players have made it sports related in a way. They've done that. So yeah, they brought attention to it, and that's all great. And as far as to what Paul was talking about, I don't know how long-term thought out this is. I don't think this is something where they're like, all right, well, if by next week there's not this or that happening. I just think that they're going. It seems like, I mean, given the fact that the Lakers were still scheduled to play despite what LeBron James was tweeting out until other teams canceled their games. Fitting. This clearly wasn't a widely organized thing because it took the first domino to fall for the others to then fall. So, and then once that happened, they did. But if it was more organized, that would have just been out there and already announced. And there's a lot of NBA reporters who are acting shocked this has happened. And this is a major moment. I'm not trying to downplay it in any way, shape, or form. It's a major moment. I'm very curious to see what it actually does lead to, because if it's waiting on justice for Breonna Taylor, well, you've been waiting now for several months. If it's waiting for justice on whatever the latest story is, and in this case, it's a really ugly story, and it's one that for the Bucks hit particularly close to home with Jacob Blake. Is it a matter of him seeing some type of a justice? So I don't know. I don't know if they've even thought that part of it out, but it'll be fascinating to see, kind of what direction this takes, because
when was the shooting?
It was a few days ago.
Yeah.
Kate, why? Now, I understand Milwaukee. They're from Wisconsin. I mean, that's their home state where this occurred. The only thing I ask is that whatever stance the players in the NBA want to take, the owners, whoever else, I get it. You take a stance. The question is, was Milwaukee, have they played a game since the shooting? Because this is game one of their series, so they had some time off, right?
It's not game one.
This is game 5.
Okay, so there had to have been another game. That just look at one of the things that John texted. One of the things we're always going to do is try to look at every angle of this thing. Why today?
Why not today?
Why not the day after the shooting? Why not the night of the shooting?
Maybe you wait to find things out about it.
Right.
Are they going to do anything to the cops that did it? I mean, is that because that's really what this is ultimately at the end game about.
Yeah,
the whole thing. But
cops. That's the whole thing.
But what consequences are going to be for the cops who shot a guy in the back 7 times they didn't need to shoot at all?
Yes, I mean, like you're saying, you don't see it on the news and then immediately stage a boycott. I mean, you kind of take time to process it, and you wait to see if something is in fact going to be done to the police officer at the center of it. And when there's not something done, that's when you then raise your voice a bit louder, and then something's still not done, and then you decide to go ahead and boycott some games tonight. I mean, that's how it looks to me. You gather information, and when you see that information isn't occurring the way or coming in the way that it should be, that's when you raise your issues over it. So I think that's what's happened here.
Adam Amin with one of the broadcasters. If fidelity to empathy is at the core of our collective human experience, then it's on us to quiet that first reaction from our brains. It is essential to our empathetic nature as humans that we take a deep breath and then listen and try to understand why fellow humans are hurt. And then it's much longer. It's a very long tweet that continues to add on more and more. All right, it's 4:31.
Yeah, I think with what you're asking there, and like I was saying to Paul, I don't think there's an end game here. I think this is very much by the seat of their pants, a feeling that they had to do something. And so they are. And so I don't think this is something like, well, if, like I said a few minutes ago, well, if by next Wednesday there's not something that occurs, I think we're just going to see what happens. And I think the players themselves are just going to see what happens.
TJ on the text line, brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine. You got to look at all the facts before you make a decision and why they maybe didn't react this way immediately, which is the question I had. The question I had was, why today? And again, why not today? And then it could have been even a day or two ago, and it could have even been a couple of days from now instead.
Well, shooting happened on Sunday.
Olin Buchanan, Texags, will join us at 4:45, brought to you by Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. John Machota, he'll join us today. Cowboys, he'll join us today at 5. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, the summer savings event continues on now. Employee pricing for everybody, so you pay what employees pay all month long. Right now, that means saving over $7,000 on 2020 Acadias. That means saving $7,000 on 2020 Yukon, $7,000 in savings on 2020 GMC Terrains. Qualified buyers can save $8,000 on 2020 GMC SLT Crew Cabs. They've also got the Buick Enclaves, one of the best-selling SUVs in 2020. It's an uncompromising full-size SUV, and right now you can save $7,200 on a 2020 Buick Enclave, plus thousands more on 2020 Buick Envisions and Encores during the summer savings event. If you're looking for the ultimate luxury, style, and power in a new SUV, well, don't settle. Drive the Cadillac XT4, XT5, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. You can experience the thrill of owning the Cadillac XT4 right now for only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. Great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, plus in-town priority warranty service. All comes with your purchase at Richard Carr. Richard Carr Motors are the people you can count on. A local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. They want the chance to earn your business, so stop by their daily disinfected showroom and see their safety-focused staff. Or they can bring the test drive to your home, because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them online at Richard Carr, that's KARR.com, or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
The biggest, the baddest, and proven to be the best. Ram is back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Now, get the Ram you've been waiting for less from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels. A new loaded-up 2020 Ram 1500 Longhorn 4x4. Now with a whopping $12,000 off. And first responders receive an additional $500. Big summer clearance event savings from the Ram leader, Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of Sikkim365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus. And best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
We'll get to Grayson Grundhafer, then Owen Buchanan, and then also John Machota. But I've got some breaking news in a way when it comes to tailgating. As Mack Rhodes told us a week ago, and the tailgate guys had also leaked it out, that it would not be any tailgating, or they would not be running tailgating. And then, of course, yesterday officially, Baylor released a press release that said there would be no tailgating on their premises for the 2020 football season. And most people obviously kind of felt that might happen. But I can tell you now, and this is without question something that is fresh off of anything. We just learned the city of Waco has approved tailgating for the 2020 football season in the Brazos parking tailgate area, which is on what, Paul? The north side of MLK, around McLean Stadium. Sikkim 365 Radio learning the city of Waco has approved tailgating in the Brazos parking area across the north side of MLK near McLean Stadium. They will, of course, follow COVID-19 guidelines, and all of that will be soon forthcoming. You can go to brazosparking.com for more information as they update that daily. We're now joined by Grayson Grundhafer, Sikkim365.com. Grayson, wow, if there was a position group that Baylor could have used to transfer, there are others. But how about this one, huh? How about the young man from UCLA? Tell us kind of, we had him on. Tell us a little bit how this happened so quickly. He kind of just mentioned Dave Aranda sold him.
Yeah, and Jake Burton is a really cool, I guess, story somewhat, because yesterday, obviously with my job, I'm following Twitter a whole lot and trying to find some trends there, as well as just trying to tap into my different sources. But Jake seems like a very realistic possibility the moment he entered the portal. I know there were some weird reports saying that he was solely focused on the ACC and SEC, didn't even mention the Big 12, and then, of course, he ends up choosing Baylor. But I do a podcast on Sikkim 365 and actually went at length and talked about Jake Burton as a possibility. So, and then it just so happened he committed later that night. So it ended up being really, really fast, and this is massive. And Baylor has done an amazing job of landing transfers this offseason, and not even just transfers, recruiting as a whole. I mean, 19 commits in the 2021 class, 3 transfer additions who are going to play during the 2020 football season at positions of need. It's been really fantastic to watch. And Jake Burton, 6'6", 315. He's going to plug right in at the right tackle position. And now you're going to have Connor Galvin and Jake Burton at your tackle spots. And those are 2 guys that could be NFL players in the future. So I can't understate this enough. This is a huge addition, huge pickup for Dave Aranda and the staff. And it's going to make them even more competitive during the 2020 season.
Do you think he can be ready by game 1?
Oh, yeah. That's the expectation. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I do believe they're playing Louisiana Tech, so there might be some room for them to be able to work in guys and kind of sub some guys out and try to figure out the best position group as a whole. But, yeah, I think he's playing game 1. And if he only plays a little bit game 1, he'll have 2 weeks to get ready for the Kansas game number 2, which I expect him to definitely be the starter for. So hopefully he's kept his body in shape, and it seems like based on the interview he had with y'all that he has done that. And if he's able to show up and at least be in shape, I think he's going to have a great chance to start that first game.
Grayson, what did you think of what Aranda had to say about the safety position, in particular when asked about the depth? He talked a little bit about Alfahim Walcott and Devin Neal.
Yeah, he talked about those guys, talked about Mike Harris a little bit, how they're trying to make sure he eats some more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to put some weight on. But, yeah, it was encouraging to hear, I think. And the really interesting part about that position is those guys that you just named are all newcomers. They're guys that Dave Aranda and the staff recruited, and they're young guys. And so Devin Neal, a guy who I think everyone has a lot of good things to say about. He was a tremendous high school player and one of the top guys in that class, in my opinion. Al Walcott, obviously a little bit of an older guy, so he probably is a step ahead of the rest. At least according to Aranda, it seems like he's probably in the two deep behind JT Woods and Christian Morgan. I also asked about Will Williams, who's a guy a lot of people are excited about in the 2019 class, and it still seems like there's some learning to do for him, some just getting the position perfected, so to speak. But I do get the feeling that he's probably in the two deep as well, with those two younger guys, Devin Neal and Mike Harris, kind of in that third group, along with newly scholarship guy Zeke Brown, who got his scholarship yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was notified. There was that team meeting where they notified Garrett McGuire and also
two others.
Yeah, and including who you mentioned.
Yeah.
Thor Rodoni and
Rodoni.
Zeke Brown. I think.
But Grayson, were you kind of surprised that he was as bullish on them as he was?
Oh, definitely. I think that position is one that has been scaring a lot of people, to be honest. And how could it not? Losing Chris Miller, Graylin Arnold, Henry Black to a certain extent. I mean, those three guys were tremendous last year. If you go back and watch a lot of Baylor's games, those guys are out there flying around to the football, hitting people, forcing turnovers. So, I mean, it makes sense. But Christian Morgan and JT Woods have played a lot of snaps. And I think the biggest thing that I wanted to get to know about it was, were those young guys progressing? Is there depth at the position? Because, like I said, JT Woods and Christian Morgan had to play the past few years as backups. And so I think you're going to see the same thing from some of these younger guys.
Did anything jump off the page to you with the single digits that have been announced so far?
Oh, definitely. Charlie Brewer. I mean, how awesome is that? I think every Baylor fan's been waiting for 3 years now to try to figure out if Charlie Brewer was ever going to get a single-digit number, and it happened. And I couldn't be happier for another player on this Baylor football team, because I just think there was a reason he wasn't earning the single digits the past couple years. And now it seems like he's turned a corner as a leader, as a teammate, and as a guy that everyone can count on. I'm not saying he wasn't before, but I am saying that I think he took it to another level this offseason, and he's getting rewarded for it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Jake Burton, the single digits, the safety discussion, and get back, Grayson, you were a part of that earlier today with Dave Aranda. Thanks for your time today. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It's Grayson Grunhay for Sikkim365.com. We'll have Owen Buchanan, Texags.com in a moment. To kind of reiterate again the update, this is something that's just happened. City of Waco has approved tailgating in the Brazos parking area, which is across MLK from McLean Stadium. There still are guidelines, of course, that have to be adhered to, and much, much more. Sikkim365.com has a link on in the premium section where you can go for information about what we'll be doing, and also on brazosparking.com. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace, your hometown grocery store, tucked away at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. I sent a list today to Brian Bauer of some of my own, like, custom-made cuts of meat, steaks, big, thick, what I call alpha dog bone-in ribeyes, thick fillets wrapped in bacon. And then, of course, they have one of the things, I get a bag of Devane with tails only on the Devane shrimp that I'll use for whether it's jambalaya or stir fry or something else. And then on top of that, they have pre-cooked meals in the bakery section. And these meals have very large portions, whether it's Texas lasagna, beef tips on rice, chicken spaghetti, and much more. And then, of course, the bakery has fresh kolaches every morning. And if there are kolaches that are left over, they will put them in a bag, seal them, and put them in a freezer off to the kind of a really cold refrigerator where you could use them as you want day by day. And cakes and cookies and cupcakes and pies and much, much more, plus donuts. Waco Custom Marketplace has a butcher shop. I talk about the beef all of the time because of the cuts of steak, but tri-tip and brisket or just hamburger meat. And then poultry, seafood, and yes, pork with different kinds of smoked sausage. And up and down the aisle, seasonings and treats and things that you want that could be just like boxes of casserole. Rotel tomatoes, canned beans. If you want that, they have that as well. You can get it all there. Milk, and they have an area with a cold beer and much more, including if you want soft drinks as well. Waco Custom Marketplace, your hometown grocery store with a butcher shop and bakery at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This segment with Olin Buchanan of TexAgs.com is sponsored by Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, with over 40 group exercise classes Monday through Sunday on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Here we go, Sikkim 365 Radio. It's 4:50. Olin Buchanan joins us, TexAgs.com, brought to you by Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco. Olin, thanks for your time. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina as well. So the 12th man tradition at A&M is, of course, a monstrous thing. The 12th man is what they call the crowd as well. Tell us a little bit about Braden White. I guess back-to-back years he gets that same number?
Just a backup linebacker, hard worker, hard-nosed kid. Not the most talented guy. Otherwise, he'd been a scholarship player. But a guy with a lot of enthusiasm and understands that the honor of wearing that number 12 and takes it really seriously and does a good job. Now he's got a heck of a guy to follow, and Cullen Gillespie, who might be the best 12th man ever. But he's doing a solid job for him, and I think that the main thing is when you look at him, he's just a guy that really understands what wearing that number 12 represents and tries to live up to that.
Olin, a lot of talk about, Kellen Mond as the starter. What's the backup race going to look like right
that's
now?
going to be really interesting. Yeah. Zach Calzada, he's a second-year player. I don't want to call anybody a sophomore or freshman anymore because you don't know what they're going to be. But he's a second-year guy out of Georgia, and he may have the strongest arm in the quarterback room. And he was the backup last year. Came in as a true freshman, was able to take the lead in that race. And you would think at least coming into the year that he's probably the number 2 guy. But Haynes King, the freshman out of Longview, has really turned heads, both from coaches and players. I mean, everything we hear about him, he's one of the fastest guys on the team right now. Runs real well. But what they're really impressed with how quick he's picking up the offense. So we hear Jimbo Fisher talk about him. We hear other coaches talk about him. But what really impresses you is when the players will go on and, the linebackers are talking about how after practice he'll come into the weight room with the linebackers and work out with them. So I think he's already garnered a lot of support for players throughout the team.
Olin, what has been your interpretation, or I guess what feel have you gotten on just the kind of energy at practice, just sort of the feel for the team versus, a year ago and Jimbo kind of having settled in now? What's that kind of look like from what you understand?
Well, Fisher tells us that it's been everything he could ask for. And I've never seen a coach that came in August and said, the guys aren't working hard and they're not doing, what we want them to do. But he said that despite the lockout and everything, that the guys came back in amazing shape. You've seen guys that are taking ownership. It's a senior-dominated team. You got a senior quarterback. Your best receivers are senior. 4 of your offensive linemen are seniors. They've really taken ownership, and it says there's great leadership. And I know that quote leadership is maybe an overstated. It's almost cliche, but it is an important factor in successful teams. And he feels like they really have it, and that the younger guys have responded well. So he just feels like that, and what we've heard from players as well is that they understand that they have a chance to have a really big year, and that they are, they're reacting the way you'd want them to.
You mentioned Haynes King, and you and I, and we all know a lot about him. Won a state championship as a junior. John King, one of the great coaches in Texas high school, and have gotten to know him very well from the time I was there, covering his teams, and even now. Who was he? Was he who he was as a junior, or who he was in high school as a senior?
Well, I haven't had a chance to see him actually play. Again, we're hearing the reports, but I watched him last year. I watched him in the state championship game. I thought, man, that guy can really spin it. And then I watched him in a ESPN game last year against John Tyler, and it looked like the ball floated a lot.
Yeah.
And I was asking him once if he was hurt, and he's, no, I'm not hurt. Wasn't hurt. So I don't know if he really wasn't hurt and he had a bad game, because I've seen him throw it better, or if he's just not the type of guy that's going to use anything as an excuse. I know John King told me that don't worry about it. He's going to be a great quarterback. Now, is that the coach talking, or is that dad, or both? All I can tell you is that since he's arrived, he's they've been raving about him. Like this guy could be a really special quarterback. And, you know, Jimbo Fisher he's got a history of doing some really good things with quarterbacks. So, you know, if he's impressed, I have to feel like that, you know, he's showing that he can throw it really well.
Olin, the Ags brought in some new offensive line signees. How much is going to be asked, you think, of the newcomers with their offensive line situation?
Man, that's a really good question. I think that they're going to enter the season with the 4 senior starters. You know, Ryan McCollum was supposed to be the starting center last year, and then he had I think it was a ruptured disc in his back, but he's back out there now. So I think that the 4 seniors, the 3 guys that were going to be that were starters last year, Dan Moore, Carson Green, and Jared Hocker, along with McCollum, are going to be starters, as well as the sophomore Kenyon Green, second-year player, but absolutely a sophomore because he started all of last year. So I believe all those guys are going to start the year in the offensive line, and I think they will. As long as they play well, I think they'll stay there. But I think when you got a guy like Akinola Agumbi that everybody wanted and was originally committed to Georgia, and he's already a 320-pound guy, has all the physical ability. You got a guy like that. You know, if guys aren't playing well in front of him, you know, he'll be maybe a hard guy to keep off the field. But I do think it's up to the senior guys, the experienced guys. If they go out and play well, I think they'll stay on the field.
Did I see one of your notifications on Twitter that Todd McShay had Kellen Mond among his top 5 quarterbacks at this time in the NFL draft? Is that me kind of having a blurry moment, or did I see that?
Well, I didn't see it. Kellen is one of those guys. He really impresses some, and he kind of turns off others. So if we put it out there from Texas, then it's the case. I'll have to look it up.
Here it is. It's from a guy named Mike Lucas. Todd McShay has Kellen Mond slotted as his 4th quarterback, 58th overall prospect in the 2021 NFL Draft positional rankings. There's going to be a lot of Aggie fans that wonder how that happened.
Yeah, you know, again, Kellen, nobody's on the fence on Kellen. They either really like him or really hate him. I think, you know, Kellen says that he was kind of afraid to fail last year, and he was apprehensive. And he promises that won't be the case this year. And we'll see if that's different. I personally think Kellen's really good. I don't think he's great, but I think he's good. And I think the first step toward greatness, we might have talked about this before, is he needs to reduce his turnovers. He hasn't had a huge amount, but he's had 9 interceptions in each of the last 2 seasons. He needs to, you know, cut that down to at least 6 and take care of the ball when he's running. And if he can do that, I think you'll see his stats spike. But the thing to remember is Kellen, last year, he had the second most total offensive yards in the SEC last year behind just Joe Burrow. So it's not like he hasn't been productive. He has been. He's just been inconsistent. Maybe McShay thinks that they found the key to finding some consistency.
And there's a weird thing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there's a weird thing about Aggie quarterbacks where they're like, if they start early, sometimes they like outlive their, you know, their fans like turn on them all of a sudden, whether it's their fault or not. I mean, you could just like think about Randy McCown or Brandon Stewart or whoever you want to throw in there. Like outside of Bucky Richardson and a couple other people, most of the time, like you either start great and end bad, or you know, just never beloved by the Aggie fans.
Isn't that the season they have a lot?
Yeah,
Start
I mean,
great?
yeah.
Well, I think that it really does. Like David, I think you just said it depends on the season, but I don't think that's exclusive to Texas A&M. I was talking on the phone with, you might remember, what's the kid's name? Is it Murray from Georgia when they were really good back in 2012? Aaron Murray.
Oh yeah.
And he had, you know, they won all kinds of games. They came like 4 yards away from beating Alabama the year Alabama won the national championship, and he was a lightning rod for criticism. And just about any coach in the country would have taken him. You know, it's just part of the position. Again, I think that, I think A&M fans are a lot like everybody else, but I can't deny that there's been some real bizarre things that have happened with A&M quarterbacks, starting with the whole Johnny Manziel fiasco in his second year, and then the 2 5-star guys transferring within a week of each other, and everything that happened with Kenny Hill. So actually, Kellen has provided some stability, and that he should get some points for that.
No, he should, because you're right. He's been there taking a beating at times and kept on firing in his time at Texas A&M. Olin, thank you for your time every Wednesday. We appreciate it. Have a great week. Be careful of any of the little edges of whatever might be the hurricane that get down in your area about an hour and a half east of where we are, southeast of where we are.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm going to do that. But if I get some rain on the front lawn, I'm not going to.
Yeah, no, don't block it. Don't block it. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate Owen Buchanan, brought to you by Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, Thursdays at 4:45. The hurricane is coming.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get much of it, though.
No,
it looks like it's going to rain a little.
Yeah, and you mentioned a story that the hotels are just loading up all over, just very similar.
Well, I live by an area where they've built a lot of hotels in the last 2 to 3 years. I mean, there's like 4 right around me that are all under 2 years old, basically. And a couple of them have like just recently opened, finally, or just now opening. And I started to see some cars there, but definitely not what you'd expect with like full-blown Magnolia available, right? Or what we were kind of experiencing a year ago. But no, now like the parking lots at every single one of them are completely full. So a lot of people have made their way to Waco.
Now, when we come back, John Machota will join us, theathletic.com, and the Cowboys as their week continues. We have hit it all, including Jake Burton, the UCLA transfer, joined us to start the show. We've heard from Dave Aranda, among many others, Jeff Barlow, equipment assistant AD at Baylor, on all the things that they've handled. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Premium, quality MRIs. Convenient, affordable. That's ideal. On average, an MRI can cost over $1,100. The cost if you go to Ideal MRI in the Central Texas marketplace off of Bagby and just east, well, it's on the west side of 35, depending on which way you're going. It's on the west side of 35 in that big, huge kind of shopping area. That's where they are. It's a very easy location to get to. And their MRIs cost $497 or less every time. Not once, and then it goes up twice as much, or every time. On average, an MRI can cost $1,100. Theirs at Ideal MRI, $497 or less every time. They'll help you with the insurance, whatever they can do, the setup to get an appointment, getting ready, checked in, going through the process of what you're going to go through in the MRI if you've never had one before, or if you've had one before. I've done them. I've had them, but bumps and bruises, tears, and whatever things that maybe some like stress fractures. And it's not always been an easy experience. The one I did with them, Dr. Rob Maxey set it up. Al was there. Techs were there. Specialists were there. It was fantastic. And it was one of the most convenient things I could experience. It was an MRI because of my shoulder. And so maybe it's your ankle or your knee, or maybe it is your shoulder, or bumps and bruises may be one thing. A doctor said, hey, we need to get an MRI. Say, how about Ideal MRI? They'll know at idealmri.com.
The biggest, the baddest, and proven to be the best. Ram is back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Now, get the Ram you've been waiting for less from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels. A new loaded-up 2020 Ram 1500 Longhorn 4x4. Now with a whopping $12,000 off. And first responders receive an additional $500. Big summer clearance event savings from the Ram leader, Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John Machota of The Athletic, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Prescott gets it complete as Cooper takes it all the way.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, we're running slightly behind in this 5 o'clock hour. We have jam-packed so many things, including UCLA transfer Jake Burton. We've looked at the Baylor equipment department and how they've staffed and how they've handled 700-plus people, student athletes and staff. We've heard from Dave Aranda and much more. Grayson Grunhaver, Olin Buchanan, high school coaches, LaVega Connolly, now joined by John Machota from theathletic.com. So, John, sometimes in a training camp setting, the wide receiver position is always the one because it looks pretty. That's usually who people are following when they're covering a camp setting. Young receivers, they get deep, they make a play. But it seems like to me that CeeDee Lamb is not just some guy that's a random wide receiver, but that he has already this amazing moxie about him. Is that something that they saw at Oklahoma, or is that even more so now?
You know, I think they saw a little bit of that at Oklahoma, but I think even with that, he's impressing them to a new level here. Because pretty much anybody you talk to within the organization, I mean, they're all pretty much on the same page. They really just never thought that there was going to be a chance that he would even make it to 17. So while they did work on him and they had their receivers coach, meet with him out at the combine,
it wasn't like that this was one of their, top possibilities that they were really counting on. It was one of those things of on draft day, he kind of started falling and they were like, well, maybe this might be able to happen. And then he kind of fell into their lap. But yeah, he's checking off all the boxes. But you bring up a good point. It is so true about how it is so easy to overrate the wide receivers because, it's so easy to see what they're doing. The flip side of that is it's so difficult to really be too critical of offensive and defensive linemen, particularly in the middle of the line, because it's really hard to tell how much push the guys are getting and how, will that be the same type of play that we'll see on Sundays? It's just very limited to this point. But yeah, certainly the quarterback play, the wide receiver play stands out. And for the Cowboys, through these first 9 practices we've seen, it's lived up to the billing.
Are you tired of talking about Earl Thomas every offseason and now he's come back around?
I really don't. I love, that's one of my favorite things about the Cowboys is that their name is mentioned with just pretty much every player. And so it makes it kind of fun to just always consider, hey, maybe they're a possibility. And to be honest with you, they kind of back it up when you see them make moves like get Everson Griffin, they get Aldon Smith, they went out and got Gerald McCoy and Don Terry Poe. And they did some moves, Andy Dalton and stuff like that this offseason that kind of makes you always be like, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys are always in the conversation, but sometimes they do pull through on this. But with Earl, I just don't think that they're as interested as they'd been in years past. I think one of the things that really helped them in the previous regime is that they had Chris Richard on staff, and Chris obviously worked with Earl in Seattle with that Legion of Boom defense coaching on the back end. And so that made it kind of a natural fit. With this new coaching staff, I just find it hard to believe that Mike McCarthy hasn't talked to people in the Seattle organization, in the Baltimore organization, and heard about some of the problems behind the scenes. And I think there's a little bit too much risk there than they're willing to take right now. Of course, Jerry Jones goes on the radio and won't slam the door on it because he doesn't want to, because he likes them being mentioned with every player as well. But I mean, I'm not saying that it can't still happen. It's far less likely than it was a few years ago. And I mean, heck, the proof is we were seeing it. I mean, this is a few years ago. I feel like the day Earl Thomas was let go by the Ravens, he'd be signed by the Cowboys. But and it's not like the safety position's gotten any better for the Cowboys. They still have holes there. So that's pretty telling that they haven't signed him up to this point, and no team has signed him up to this point.
I saw where Joe Philbin talked today, John. What were takeaways, if any, that you got from hearing him speak?
It's really that he's taken over this offensive line that has several pieces that, were key pieces in previous seasons, that he's not really trying to come in here and just change things around. There's a lot of building on what they've done. But he's kind of in a tough spot because of the fact that for most of these practices, well, for all of them, he hasn't had Lyle Collins out there. And for most of them, he hasn't had Tyron Smith, who was dealing with some hamstring tightness. And so, he's got some left and right tackles out there like Terrence Steele and Brandon Knight and Wyatt Miller, and guys that just really, that's not going to be the guys that are going to be out there for them, on Sundays. Because even their swing tackle, Cam Irving, hasn't practiced yet. He's working back in. Actually, yesterday was the first time we saw him in full pads. He was doing individual work. So it appears that he'll be ready to return to practice in the next couple of days. So it's tough for Philbin to say too much because he just hasn't had that full complement. But the thing that I took away is that he's really just trying to build up what they've done. He's not trying to come in there and change a bunch of things up, because let's be honest, this offensive line's had several different coaches over the years. And so he's got a talented group there. But it doesn't sound like there's going to be any major changes, nor should there be.
John, obviously there's only so much you can watch. Although you guys are getting a pretty good front row view in a lot of ways. We haven't been able to be there, and we haven't even been able to watch Baylor practice, and they play a game in a little over, 2.5 weeks or so. But how do you decipher the guy that is standing out that is not a part of what you think might be their roster? That someone who's trying to get – it's a very talented roster. I had a Cowboy scout tell me, man, we're really deep, we're very talented. How do you find that nugget, that guy that kind of makes the team, that's off the radar, that you see is making plays, but not just because it's 7-on-7?
Yeah, it's difficult. It really is. I mean, because here's the thing, like, the Giants, they're tackling to the ground. Their practices are looking like it's Sundays. The Cowboys aren't doing that. They're going into this thing as we're trying to get to week one as healthy as possible for example, what's keeping Lyle Collins and Tyron Smith out? If there was a game this Sunday, would not be keeping them out. They would be playing. Like, the expectations are that both of them will be starting week 1, and they're going to be good to go. So, yeah, it is. It's difficult to pick out certain things, but I feel like you watch enough of these practices on a day-to-day basis, you see guys that, it looks like this guy's making a few more plays than he did the day before. This guy looks like he's a little bit more comfortable. I think for me, particularly the ones that stand out to me, I feel like are the rookies, just because I don't have anything else to go off of. This is, these 9 practices I've seen is the first 9 times I've gotten to see them. And so from the first practice till now, I really feel like you've seen CeeDee Lamb jump out and make a bunch of plays and just really look natural, working with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, to where you're like, yeah, week 1, he's working into that, he's going to make plays. Like, there's not going to be too much of a growing period here. He's getting thrown to the wolves. And then the same thing in a different sense with Trayvon Diggs, because in those first 2 practices, he didn't really do much to stand out. He kind of looked like he was just kind of feeling his way around. But these last few, particularly this last practice I thought was the best one he's had, and just knocking balls away. And just, he's so long, and just the way he turns his hips, especially when he's defending on a deep ball, he looks like a wide receiver in stride, and just the way the way he times the ball, the way he uses his long arms to go and knock it away and try and make plays on the ball. So he's been really intriguing. And then the other guy is Francis Bernard, the linebacker out of Utah. They signed as an undrafted, rookie free agent. He's had multiple interceptions in practice, one of which it was on Dak Prescott in a 7-on-7 setting. And he's just a guy that, Dane Brugler, that I work with at The Athletic, is good, if not the best draft analyst there is in this business. He had Bernard as, I believe, like a 5th-round grade on him, and he was a guy the Cowboys were able to get as an undrafted guy. And, man, I would be surprised if he didn't make the team. Not just what he's been doing defensively, but he seems like the exact type of guy that you'd want on a special teams unit that, wasn't very good last year. So for me personally, I guess it's just a long way of saying it's the rookies are the ones that I've kind of been noticing the most.
This is a make or break year for Cheeto Awuzie and Jordan Lewis, and the Cowboys drafted guys like Trayvon Diggs, like Reggie Robinson. How have Cheeto and Jordan looked?
With both of them, they looked good when we saw them out there, but then Cheeto had a really nice interception, a leaping interception on a ball target for Cedric Wilson, but then he came down and he hit his knee on the turf, his right knee, and then right after the play, he came to the sideline and he was kind of trying to look like he was trying to work out some type of kink in his leg or whatever, because at first he was doing this drill with like his knee on the top of the football, then he was using a tennis ball. It was almost like he was trying to loosen his knee up. And again, this is camp for caution, so he hasn't practiced. That was 2 days ago, and he didn't practice yesterday after that happened. And then Jordan Lewis, similar thing, but twisted his right ankle, and so then he was on the sideline, left ankle, and he was on the sideline, and they were looking at that, and that looks to be a thing that'll keep him out for the rest of the week. And so, again, with either of them, it's nothing that will keep him out of week 1, but because of that, it's really opened the door for Diggs to get even more playing time, because Diggs, a bigger corner, is going to predominantly work on the outside, whereas with Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, those guys can both move inside. But Diggs has been able to get the extra opportunities, and he seems to be making the most of them. So nothing serious on the injury front, but because of that, we just haven't seen him as much as with Awuzie and Lewis as I thought we would to this point.
John, thank you. Craig, anything else? Paul?
Yep.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it as always. John Machota, theathletic.com, on the Cowboys and NFL, Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. Couple of more updates on the NBA having those 3 games that have been postponed. This from Chris B. Haynes, Yahoo sources. There's a sizable amount of players advocating to finish the season out since sacrifices were made to enter the bubble, believing the NBA platform is a useful resource in this social climate. Dan Wetzel responded on his Twitter feed, fascinating, NBA players decide whether to continue playoffs. Meanwhile, baseball protests begin. How widespread will they get tonight? And the NFL starts 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah, the Brewers have already decided not to play tonight in solidarity with the Bucks, which is not too surprising. There are talks that the Mariners are the next team that might go ahead and decide to join the protest, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the Mariners have the most black players in baseball, so that was why their name I think, got thrown into the mix because they would be, I guess, as a result, perhaps the most likely to feel like, hey, this is the right thing to do for tonight. I'm sure there will probably be some more. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there would be some more potentially later on tonight. And I'm just curious, like, if everybody's back playing tomorrow, I'm not sure how much really was accomplished. You know what I mean? Like, these players are doing everything they can. Like, they can't go and correct the laws. They can't go and make bad cops behave a certain way. So they're doing what they can with what they have at their disposal and with their platform. But, if you shut down the season, I don't know that changes minds. And I know it's not all about just changing minds also, but it's about changing behavior more than anything. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm fast. Like I was saying earlier, I just kind of am talking in circles because I'm just very curious to see, the next step, if one is taken, and just kind of what the reaction is to this news, because this news is still pretty fresh. Like this just came out in the last hour or two, so we don't even know how many baseball teams are playing tonight, and it's almost 5:30 Central Time. So yeah, we will see. But the NBA looks like they're going to have a vote on their hands as far as whether to continue with the postseason or not, or some type of vote, whether that's just verbal or what have you. So we'll see how all these teams come out of their meetings. But
there's also what happened, was it last night in Kenosha, with a young man and a 17-year-old with a AK-47 or something took some matters into his own hands.
Yeah, he shot 2 peaceful protesters.
Yeah, and an AR-15, excuse me.
Yeah. And
so you have a lot of these things merging, and so it's flared up, not because it went down, it's flared up even more so again. And so, man, I love the fact that what John Waterfield's 11 and all the others have said. We appreciate your feedback. I have one other story to mention that's interesting because we're in the media. There are certain stances, sometimes topics, that we get into that are emotional, political, or all of the above. And one of them is what we're talking about now. Stuart Mandel from theathletic.com is, like, I think maybe one of the founding fathers of that site, along with maybe Bruce Feldman, among others. He has been, and you've heard this news of the college football writers, there seems to be a large chunk of them that when you see them, it's usually something negative.
Well, there's one guy, who is it? Dan what?
Dan Wolkin.
Automatically I just tune out. That I have no care in the world.
Like, there's things that to me I'll grab onto, and others that I've been more, again, we're not going to get into our philosophy, but so Stuart Mandel has been a little bit touchy. In fact, he's the one, a lot touchy. He's the one that went after a lot of, quite frankly, Dr. Michael Ackerman. But he started his mailbag today. Before I get to your questions, he then basically said this, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this took a lot because sometimes when you're at a national level, or even if you're in an important role locally, whatever, it's hard to say maybe you've been wrong, or at least why you're doing something. Writing and tweeting about college football in the time of COVID-19 has been the greatest challenge of my career because the topic is so emotional and has become so divisive. I've been accused at times of being too negative, or even that I'm trying to bring down college football due to some political agenda. Up until recently, I mostly brushed off those comments. Once in a while, I would snap back. However, the last couple of weeks, the tenor intensified, both from myself and my reader followers. I've caught myself on a few occasions having to delete tweets that were plain condescending. Monday, after the preseason AP poll came out, I published a seemingly funny and innocuous piece making predictions on how the now ended or canceled marquee September matchups would have transpired. The comments section quickly deteriorated into angry readers blaming me for the cancellations, and for those comments getting lots of thumbs up. It was time to stage a self-intervention. And he admits that some personal things for himself, of how he has fears for COVID, for his family and himself, but he actually admits that he's gotten too much into this. And there's so many in our profession, including us, that at times need to just step away and have the own self-intervention.
This is a really easy thing to get too close to the situation, especially if you start just ingesting all the things that are out there at once in your brain.
Yeah.
You're going to get too close to the situation.
That's why people don't realize how unhealthy it is to be on social media all the time, literally all the time. And it's so unhealthy for you. It's so bad for you to constantly be taking in all of that information. A lot of it's not even real information. It's like garbage that's just been thrown out by, a bot account or just some moron. And so, there's a lot of people taking information that they take as fact or just overloading their brain. Like, how can you have really well thought out, formed opinions when all you're doing is just taking in, and you're not sitting and thinking about it? You're just immediately reacting. Like, how else do you have like 200 retweets on something that a guy allegedly said where people have already deemed him guilty? You know what I mean? Like, because nobody's thinking. They're just see, react. And that's all we do. We don't put thought into anything. And we just go off of emotions. Like, this country's become so driven by emotion, and that's so unhealthy, man, because emotions aren't always truthful. Emotions might be skewed because you didn't get enough sleep the night before, so you make a poor choice. You're hungry. Like, there's a million reasons why you're not thinking clearly, and so when you just have people that are sitting and taking in but not thinking about what they're taking in and just reacting all the time, all of it off of emotion, that's why we are where we are. Yeah. Everybody's so damn emotional and can't get out of their own feelings. And I've taken a lot of the stuff that I was taking in as far as COVID and all that. I've pulled so far back on that. I keep track of stuff, but I don't get down into the well on it because it gets so negative, and people just don't want to hear any opinion other than theirs. And Stuart Mandel, kudos to him for doing that, because he was getting too negative. I mean, there were certainly some people who were just, oh, well, you hate college football, blah, blah, blah. Again, people probably not putting much thought into what they were saying, but there were absolutely some people going like, dude, but seriously, though, you act like you hate college football, and that's how he came across. So he needed to kind of say something like that, in my opinion. I'm glad he did.
You know what I've done, and I started doing this in 2016 when every story we were working on was negative or sad or it was tough to deal with, and there was so many things coming out of it. After the show every night, if I could, if I had to go watch a game or something, if it was a game I really don't watch, like the Florida State Red Sox or something like that, if it was a fan game, or if it was a game I was covering, but if it was just me coming home and being able to turn it out, like I wouldn't go on social media for an hour and I wouldn't watch sports for an hour, just so that I could just clear my brain of everything going on. And then when I got back into it, I was ready to go and I wasn't tired of it. And so that to me has always helped, and I think that part of it is you get too in the weeds and you're just always thinking about the same story over and over again.
Some people wake up and the first thing they do is they get on Facebook or they get on Twitter and they feel like
thing you can do.
Yeah, instead of like yourself forming, like, what are you doing that day? By the way, Roger Goodell, go ahead.
How many times when you look on social media, what do you think the percentage is? Like, I know for like Facebook, it's probably it's probably going to be more of a negative post. Chances are. But, like, what are the like 50% is good and 50% is negative?
It's probably more of a negative.
Probably more of a negative. So you wake up and that's how you start your day, is with somebody complaining about this politician or that crime or this. And, look, I'm not saying don't talk about things. I'm more or less saying, like, the people who inundate themselves with information constantly, but they never really process it and they just spit out opinions that are knee-jerk. I just think that's really unhealthy.
Speaking of which is unhealthy, the Washington Football Club.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Former Redskins employee now saying that lewd video of cheerleaders made for owner Daniel Snyder. Again, this is an allegation, but Roger Goodell has now released a statement about how they condemn the unprofessional, disturbing, abhorrent behavior and workplace environment alleged in the report, which is entirely inconsistent with our standards and has no place in the NFL. An independent investigation into issues in the process led by a highly experienced counsel recommended by our office. So now what Washington was doing was their own investigation. That now will be an NFL independent investigation on what is true and what is not. And this does appear to be, even if not true, it does appear as there's so many darts that are being thrown the way of Daniel Snyder. It will be interesting to see whether or not he survives all of this.
When rich people start, this is at the core of this, not to take away from anything bad that's happened to anybody that worked for the Redskins, but at the core of this is he owns 52% of the team. The other minority owners own 48% of the team. They've decided that they are going to sell, mostly because he's run the value of that team into the ground. So they want full value for the team. They can't get full value if Daniel Snyder still owns the team. They need to sell 100% of it when they do. So more of these things are going to start coming out because when rich people start fighting over money, the gloves come off.
Also, a couple of other notes, and it's so toxic.
He needs to do what's best for, like, if he has any real care for that organization, which I don't know if he does or not, but if he does, he just needs to step away.
He's a lifelong fan. You would think he has, even though maybe he's been numb to that now. I'm numb to them just as a fan. J.D. Spillman, a Nebraska transfer, TCU, was granted immediate eligibility. He's a player now. He's up and down at times. He's a player. He can make some plays. No question about it. How about Morris from the Clippers? And was that intentional, what he was doing to Luka on his ankle last night? Did you see the video? Marcus Morris. He went and actually stepped on an ankle. Like the way he kind of stuttered his steps to get to Luka. There's concerns about whether or not it was not premeditated,
intentional.
But intentional.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would have mattered last night. They got their heads kicked in, and they were blown out of the gates from the get-go. So Luka's ankle or not, they just got embarrassed. And so I can understand why that's kind of a, maybe a little slight controversy coming out of last night or whatever. I don't know. He says he didn't do it intentionally. Just had to take him at his word for it.
The no-hitter last night, Paul, how do you say his last name?
Giolito
for the White Sox. And the last out was a line shot fading away from the right fielder. Made a hell of a play, yeah. Nelson Cruz would have made it.
Too soon.
Will always be too soon. Ken Rosenthal had this earlier, that the Rangers ballpark is under what could be consideration. The World Series could possibly be played at Globe Life Field.
Essentially located.
Talking with Union about possibilities. Final plan will be subject to ownership approval, but there is the possibility that they might at least look at that as an option.
You can have a bubble situation. Yeah.
Well, it'll be nice for that stadium to actually see a World Series.
Yeah, oh my God.
But yeah, that's cool. It makes sense. It's right in the middle of the country. We'll see what they end up doing, but that'd be a great deal for the Rangers organization. Is you're not going to have your team playing in it, but if you could actually host the World Series, that'd be pretty cool. All
right, and one more thing, the city of Waco, we mentioned this earlier, news that I received that the Brazos parking across from MLK near McLean Stadium, the city of Waco will allow tailgating under specific guidelines of COVID-19, which of course will be forthcoming. You can find information on SicEm365.com. because we have plans in that section and elsewhere, but also you can go to brazosparking.com as well. This is SicEm 365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco. 0% financing right now, no payments for 90 days. That's still in effect on most of their vehicles, including these 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs. The world's most awarded SUV, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, 0% for 72 months, no payments for 90 days. Go by and say hi to Ted Teague, my good friend AJ, the salesman that does a great job with you and did with me as well, and a great staff throughout. And also Jeep Cherokee, Jeep Renegade, Jeep Compass, the same offer that I mentioned on the Grand Cherokee available. And dealerships are sometimes running low on selection. They've loaded up with new inventory at Alan Samuels in Waco, and the perfect time to upgrade your ride. Save thousands in the newer summer clearance event. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84, or AlanSamuelsDCJ.com. Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-through open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm, and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Log on to the Willis Law Firm chat room on Sikkim365.com.
"2020, man,
go away."
Got this big hurricane. Now you have what's happening with the NBA. And there was a sports analyst, a legal expert on what do you call what today has been with the Bucks in the NBA. And Mike McCann Sports Law, and of course we have ours that comes on with us.
Dan Lust, yeah.
Dan Lust, who's fantastic. Was this a strike, a boycott, a walkout, a work stoppage, a protest, or something else? All I can sort out, but walkout is probably the best term. This is from a legal analyst. It wasn't a strike organized by the NBA Players Association. It wasn't an action directed at the NBA, and it wasn't refusing the goods or service. And as Craig mentioned, is the players own half the league. But that's not the point that they're not that they don't care about.
They're not caring about the lost money. Like there's a lot of people that are trying to, tweet at LeBron James or at these NBA reporters about, you're going to lose these millions of dollars. Well, a lot of them are already millionaires anyway, so it's not like they're hurting for the money, and that's not the point of the – like there's some things that are bigger than money, right? And, this is one of those. And I don't know how you could possibly see it any other way. So the money is not an issue, although I'm sure there's probably some guys in the league who don't make LeBron James money or – Lillard money or whoever money that are probably wanting their checks from the remainder of the season, especially those teams that are still playing. So, yeah, and I would think, too, that if, you're a team like the Mavericks, even though you're licking your wounds after last night, but you're still playing for a title, so you don't know how many opportunities you'll have for that. Now, again, there's things bigger than sports. There's things bigger than a title. So we'll see if, LeBron chasing another ring is ultimately something that he feels is something to move forward with, or if this is big enough to go ahead and shut down that pursuit for this season. And that goes for everybody else. So, again, we'll see. But they're doing, again, what they feel like they can do and what they have at their disposal, and that's just not playing the game. I mean, there's not really anything else they can do. We've seen every PSA known to man. We've seen every brand put their black and white lettering on in their commercials and, say the same message, and that's all well and good and supportive and everything, but there's only so much each person can do, and so I think they're just trying to do what they can and see where it goes.
Yeah, and I ultimately right now don't think this is going to.
This is not going to change much.
This is not going to, or it's going to change the fact they'll come back and play a season. I would think. I mean, I
don't know what it could potentially change. Like that's the thing. Is like, what does it change? Are they just going to threaten to not play ever again? Or are they?
So if the cops that shot Jacob Blake get arrested tomorrow,
right?
Is it back on?
Probably.
Like, what's the end? Okay,
I would think so. I mean, if that's what you're seeking is justice, then the justice would be, police officers involved in that horrific incident to be held accountable, and that's why you still see Breonna Taylor's name. I mean, not only because of the fact that she was one of those names along with George Floyd that we first heard at the beginning, but you hear Breonna Taylor's name still because they still have done nothing about the cops that killed her, and it was a mistake on the cops' part. It wasn't like they sought her out. It was a big mistake, obviously, when you take someone's life. But, yeah, you still see justice for Breonna Taylor because that's not been taken care of. So who knows? I mean, it's nice to think that by tomorrow these cops will be held accountable or something, but who knows? Who knows?
Paul, do you have the Aranda on Hurricane Laura?
Yeah, absolutely.
About a minute.
I'm watching a live cam at Galveston right now. The skies have gotten gray. Waves are coming in pretty big. So they're bracing for it. They're getting ready for it.
I've got it.
So Dave Aranda and part of the Baylor staff, of course, have either ties or have been in Louisiana. A lot of them just came from LSU, the Baton Rouge area. And this Hurricane Laura that's coming in, it looks like it's going to hit the golden triangle around Texas, but also, a little bit little bit west of New Orleans and Baton Rouge, right up the seam of Texas and Louisiana border, and hotels all around the state are just being filled up, as even Craig said, either what looks like here in the Waco area. It's a category 4?
4 right now, yeah.
And the topic on the headline of the Weather Channel: unsurvivable storm surge.
We got to go with the fear porn right out of the gates. We got to make it as scary as possible. But, yeah, the storm surge is expected to be about 20 feet high. So if you're in the vicinity, no, you will not survive that. So, yeah, I mean, that is accurate. It's a little bit of fear porn, but it is accurate. And with the storm like this, you just don't want to play around. So you try to knock it through people's thick skulls that, no, you're not just going to want to ride this one out. You're going to want to try and get as far away as possible. But I can tell you from looking at this live cam, a lot of people still walking around Galveston right now.
Yeah, it's always been cool to me. My brother's got this beautiful place on the east coast of Florida, and whenever a good storm comes in, you could see it coming from a distance, and it's kind of cool because it's a built incredibly beautiful building. It's built very well, but that's just where a thunderstorm comes plopping through there. You'd imagine when you got 140, 150, 170 miles an hour, and then the storm surge that would just come over any kind of road.
I mean, his place is great if you're watching a thunderstorm roll through, but the thing
not if it's something bigger.
If it's bigger than that, you're not going to be sitting on the back porch watching it.
In fact, he moved to the other side of Florida. They braved a couple of them and ended up okay.
I've been through many in my life, and it's not ever fun, and it's not one of those things that you look forward to, and it's hard to determine what you should do, especially if you're in certain income brackets in your life. When I was young and broke and working at Porter's bookstore, I had very little options of what to do. So you think about all that you have to deal with the hurricane. It's
so
stressful.
Dave Aranda and part of his staff, of course, might still have connections to Louisiana. You'd think they would. And it's a great question. I think Matt Roberts may have asked this question from Fox 44 about Hurricane Laura.
There's still, I think, we still have some families that are out in Lafayette, and then just, a lot of friends that are out Baton Rouge area and New Orleans area. More friends than anything there, but our prayers are there. We're addressing our players as we speak, their families that are within somewhere there that course of that storm, and touching base and seeing if everything's okay, and if there's anything we could do, let them know we're thinking about them. And so I think times like these, it kind of puts in perspective kind of where football lands. And so I think the more connection you have and the more people know that it's not just them out there, that they got people with them, the better.
That's Dave Aranda on Laura as as she comes pounded into the coast right there in that little area of Louisiana and also Texas. Break here.
Yes.
I do have one from the Willis Law Firm chat room, Camo TX. The protest is virtue signaling. That's it. What he said.
There's a way to look at it that way, sure.
I guess
what would happen if I...
And I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and we'll find... And Jay Williams, I saw a note from him that if tomorrow they come back to work, they're going to get hammered for that.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. That's my whole point on this, and it's not so much even what's the next step? Because, you say that too much and get accused of, trying to rush through this whole thing or whatever, or being insensitive to it. But it's but really, though, you may not be able to tell me the next step, but if they are back at work tomorrow, then what was the dadgum point? Because other than trending on Twitter for a few hours, it's not changing anything. So that's again, just what I am so curious about. Is this something that they feel the need to continue on, perhaps even canceling the remainder of the season, or was that too much to sacrifice for the players because of money or just own personal goals or whatever? And then if they don't stretch this out and they're all just back playing games tomorrow, then it all just seems kind of silly, quite frankly, the whole effort today. So very interesting decisions ahead of these NBA players.
When we come back, 5:48, we'll kind of put a bow on today with so many moving parts. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access, drive-through open, and convenient clean store in-store location, Lakeshore Drive, North 19th Street in Waco. I went in there today, got a gift for a friend of mine for his 80th birthday, and they were of tremendous help to me. And every time I've gone in there, they're tremendous help because even though I like, whiskey and I like beer and I like wine, I don't know everything about it. So sometimes you need a suggestion. They're great at suggestions, especially if you're trying to buy something for someone else. Fantastic at that. And also, again, if you're a craft beer fan, go in there, go in the fridge, check it out. You will be thrilled with the choices you have at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Family owned and operated in a hidden gem in Waco, Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
The biggest, the baddest, and proven to be the best. Ram is back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Now, get the Ram you've been waiting for less from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels. A new loaded-up 2020 Ram 1500 Longhorn 4x4. Now with a whopping $12,000 off. And first responders receive an additional $500. Big summer clearance event savings from the Ram leader, Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wrap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
You know, high school football season starts tomorrow.
It does.
NFL starts 2 weeks from tomorrow. NBA, here we are right now. It's kind of in a, whatever this would be called, a delay, suspension, postponement, and baseball continues. And there's going to be a team or two. Milwaukee, the Brewers, won't play tonight because of the issue in Kenosha. But this is all merging. It's all converging. But has 2020 just been unbelievable?
It's the worst year of all time. It sucks, man. This whole thing has sucked from start to finish. It's been an awful year. I know there's some good that's come out of some of this, and hopefully there will be more good over time. But no, like just on the surface, yeah, it's been pretty awful all the way around. I mean, pretty much everything that you can throw at people has been thrown at people. So I'm sure there's more. We're only halfway through. We're what, 3/4 of the way through the year now, right? 3/4 of the way. So
yeah, very close.
Hopefully 2021's better. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't want to guarantee that because I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's
so let me ask you this. If teams decide to play tonight.
They're sellouts and all that. Is that what you're going to ask?
Yeah. You know.
I who cares? I mean, honestly, like if they do or they don't, I mean, I'm not trying to be dismissive of it, but like, who cares? Like, we're getting way too in the weeds when we're worried about like what happens if a team does this, and we're already worried about the reaction to that. And we're not worried about the reaction because it's the right thing or the wrong thing. It's the reaction is like, oh, well, we're gonna get bashed on social media. Do we realize how dumb that sounds, like, in the grand scheme of things? Like, that's what we've resorted ourselves to worrying about is, like, that. It's just so sad, man. But, no, I mean, like, I'm sure there will be some there's a negative backlash for everything, even if it's, like, nothing harmful and it's totally innocent. There's backlash to it because people just want to be miserable. So,
well,
I'm
it's
sure. there will be backlash regardless of what happens. Like, if they don't play another game, there will be backlash. If they come back tomorrow, there will be backlash. If they come back a week from now, there will be backlash. So, I mean, it's just part of the deal.
Marcus Morris had a 3-minute response to defending himself on whether or not he intentionally stepped on Luka Doncic's ankle. Doc Rivers said, I don't even know why we're talking about this. I didn't hear about this until the morning. Rick Carlisle Wednesday didn't answer the first question he received, but then he was asked again about it, and he said, there's no place for plays like that in our game. The league has the ability retroactively to look at that and determine whether they felt it was intentional or not. This is something the league's going to have to deal with, and we want to keep our players out of danger. We want to keep the Clippers player out of danger, too. It should be hard competition. It should be clean competition as well. And that's what I was saying. Now it's not that the Clippers just obliterated the Mavericks. Luka was not going to have the same game back-to-back. They obliterated him. Porzingis still out. They obliterated him. They should have. They just toyed with him. They made fun of them. They stepped on him, and they made him, like, took their toys out of their backyard and left. But then you have this as part of the story. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's like I said, Paul, the Cowboys can never lose a game 24-10.
No.
It's got to be the sun's in the eyes through whatever part of the stadium.
I mean, there's
leaks like oil.
Yeah, it's nuts. I every single time there's something like, if they would have had this penalty would have been called in the second quarter. That was the bad call that led to that loss. Yeah, it's gonna follow them around, and I don't know if Marcus Morris did that on purpose or not. I don't know.
I mean, you can watch it, and if it's in your head that he did it on purpose, then it looks like he did it on purpose. If it's in your head that you're going to be open-minded about it, then you can go either way. If it's in your head that he definitely didn't, then you can watch that and say he definitely didn't do it. I can see it from every single angle. He says he's not a dirty player. I don't know Marcus Morris. I'll take his word on that. But I can also see where people are coming from. Bottom line is, regardless of what Marcus Morris did, that Mavericks got their asses kicked. I mean, just straight up. Like, that's the story from last night. And that's all the story is from last night. Not any of this. I don't want to hear in a couple of days, well, if Luka wouldn't have gotten his ankle stepped on and, no. If you would have gotten blown out that night, then you would have been playing still. But you know what? They got to deal with it and just keep moving forward. But if they're going to sit here and dwell on this, and I know it's not the Mavs themselves that are doing that, it's the media, but the Mavs certainly can't afford to dwell on that.
Yeah. All right, we started today's show. We had the interview with
Jacob
Burton, young man from UCLA. They'll be flying in tonight. We had Dave Aranda on many things. He was fantastic today in the media session. We also hit Hurricane Laura. And we mentioned our good friend Butch Henry, praying for him, talked to his wife Barbara, and she told me, no, please let everybody know, please pray for Butch Henry. He's not doing well at all. And some of your responses, I got to read Braden Embry from Pioneer Steel and Pipe. I asked him, I said, can I say this? He said, yes, please do. He said, Smokey, sorry to hear about my old buddy Butch. He came to me many years ago and said, I can help Pioneer Steel if you'll just give me a chance.
Pioneer Steel and Pipe.
Yep. My thoughts were, what can a sports radio show do for